Konoha, left eye Rinnegan, right eye Reincarnation. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction, so please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story and all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter, and if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 152. The four ninjas spread rumors. Their intentions are malicious. Before, because of your low strength, you could hide your abilities and not show your face in front of others. Now that your strength is approaching that of an elite Jonin, there is no longer any need to hide your abilities. Uzumaki Ryu looked at Jojuan meaningfully. When Ashina announced Jojuan's contributions to the clan, Uzumaki Ryu was the one most shocked. He had always thought Jojuan was mediocre and incompetent, never expecting that his son was far more outstanding than he imagined, and that he had kept it a secret for so many years. He felt gratified but also angry. You will continue to work at the police department tomorrow. I will be handing over the entire police department to you. You need to learn how to manage it and can't just coast along like before. Uzumaki Ryu's tone was very serious, and Jojuan felt a pain in his teeth. He really wanted to say, "Can I not go to work?" but seeing his father's face, he could only weakly reply, "Okay, I understand, the situation in the Land of Fire is turbulent recently. Stay in the village and don't go out. I will write to Mito to let him know that you have returned safely," Uzumaki Ryu continued. Jojuan nodded his head like a chick pecking at rice, feigning obedience on the surface, but secretly plotting to go out and gather intelligence. Then, Uzumaki Ryu gave Jojuan a detailed lecture, essentially telling him to be more honest from now on, to tell him whatever he was thinking, and not to try to be clever by hiding his abilities. He emphasized that father and son should be open and honest with each other, not conceal things. As he spoke, Uzumaki Ryu was struggling to control himself. Jojuan had kept so much from him. If it weren't for the fact that he had just returned from his disappearance, he would have hung him up with the Vajra chains and given him a good beating. After giving his instructions, Uzumaki Ryu gave Jojuan one last look before turning and leaving. He wasn't good at expressing the emotions between father and son, and at this moment, he thought of many things, his feelings extremely complicated. If Jojuan hadn't hidden his abilities from him, he certainly wouldn't have chosen Ashina as his successor, but rather his eldest son. But now it was too late. He had been grooming Ashina as his successor for nearly 10 years, and almost everyone knew that Ashina was the next leader of Uzumaki Village. It was impossible to change the choice. Alright, you brought this on yourself. From now on, you'll assist your brother in developing and strengthening Uzashio Village. Ashina, father just said the situation in the Land of Fire is turbulent. What's going on? In the courtyard of the clan head's mansion, Jojuan inquired about information from his younger brother. He sensed something was clearly wrong. Uzashio Village's defenses were very tight. Just at the village entrance, several Jonin, including Uzumaki Kid, were stationed to guard it, as if they were on guard against any potential enemies appearing in the shadows. This matter is mainly related to my brother-in-law. Ashina paused for a moment to choose his words before explaining. Back at the victory banquet at Tianmen Pass, my brother-in-law mentioned building a village where all the clans would unite. At the time, almost no ninja clan paid any attention to him, but no one expected that my brother-in-law would actually implement his village building plan. Starting half a year ago, my brother-in-law led the Senju clan to visit every ninja clan in the Land of Fire. He persuaded the various ninja clans to put aside their prejudices and join forces to build a new home. He reasoned with them and appealed to their emotions. If they still wouldn't cooperate, he would take action. In just a few months, more than a dozen small ninja clans agreed with his ideas and joined my brother-in-law's camp. Jojuan suddenly understood. He realized that Hashirama was about to quell the chaos. The current turmoil was just the last darkness before dawn. The other ninja clans that haven't been visited by my brother-in-law all feel that he is ambitious and determined to conquer all the ninja clans by force. They are unwilling to become vassals of the Senju, so they are actively preparing for war and have declared that they will fight as long as my brother-in-law dares to come. Ashina continued. Many ninja clans have chosen to ally with the Uchiha clan to fight against the Senju clan. My brother-in-law's actions have determined the fate of all the ninja clans in the Land of Fire. No ninja clan can stand aside. If my brother-in-law doesn't give up his idea of building a village, this war will never end. I see. Joshua nodded, then suddenly thought of something and asked, even if my brother-in-law still wants to build a village, he wouldn't force us in Uchiha village, would he? No, he wouldn't. Ashina smiled bitterly. Ever since my brother-in-law started visiting each ninja clan, father has forbidden him from coming to Uchiha village. Every time he comes, father chases him away. Even my older sister's attempts to mediate are useless. Upon hearing this, Joshua immediately imagined Hashirama repeatedly running into obstacles and found it inexplicably funny. No wonder father told me to stay in the village and not go out. Is he worried that my brother-in-law will brainwash me if I go to the Senju clan's territory? Joshua chuckled. Ashina shook his head. That's not entirely the reason. Our Uzumaki village did indeed get into trouble, not long after you disappeared, second brother. Rumors spread throughout the four kingdoms of lightning, wind, water, and earth that the masked man's true identity was actually a member of our Uzumaki clan. Joshua's gaze sharpened slightly. What evidence do they have? There's no evidence, but many ninjas from the four kingdoms said that on the day of the Battle of Yamen Pass, they saw many Vajra chains shoot out from the masked man's body to fight Black Zetsu. Vajra chains are a unique bloodline ability of our Uzumaki clan, so the masked man must be a member of our Uzumaki clan. Joshua's expression shifted, unsure whether the ninjas from the four kingdoms truly identified him as a member of the Uzumaki clan based on the Vajra chains, or if it was a contingency plan left by Black Zetsu before he was sealed, or even the Sage of Six Paths is doing. The last possibility would undoubtedly be the most disadvantageous for him. That's nonsense. How could the masked man be a member of the Uzumaki clan? Joshua firmly denied it. Ashina fumed. Who said it isn't? If the masked man were a member of the Uzumaki clan, my father and I would have known long ago. This is clearly a conspiracy against our Uzumaki village. Although father immediately denied the rumors, many Shikoku ninjas still believed them. To investigate the truth about our Uzumaki village, many Shikoku ninjas secretly infiltrated the village. Some even used transformation techniques to impersonate you, second brother, swaggering into the village, trying to gain father's trust. But father saw through their deception and exposed them. Father believed someone was pulling the strings behind the scenes, intending to harm Uzumaki village. To prevent the Shikoku ninjas from further threatening the village's safety, father deployed people in the village, making strict arrangements and entering a state of wartime alert. This is why Maple and the others mistakenly thought second brother was an imposter. Joshua sighed deeply. The Shikoku ninjas are slandering us. Their intentions are sinister. Exactly. Ashina indignantly echoed. They infiltrated Whirlpool Village, trying every possible way to find the masked man, but if he actually appears before them, he'll scare them to death. They should be thankful the masked man isn't a member of the Whirlpool clan, otherwise, for their intrusion into Whirlpool Village, he would definitely have given them a piece of his mind. Chapter 153 Achieved results on the first day of work. Yes, if the masked man is a member of the Uzumaki clan, he will definitely teach the Shikoku ninja a lesson, Joshua said, his smile revealing nothing unusual. He was lying. He didn't intend to attack the Shikoku ninja, at least not on the near future. The commotion he caused upon returning to the village today certainly didn't escape the notice of the Shikoku spies. The Shikoku already suspected the masked man was a member of the Uzumaki clan. If the masked man attacked the Shikoku immediately after his return, even the most foolish person would connect the masked man to him. The coincidence was too much. Although Joshua wasn't afraid of the Shikoku's hostility with his strength, Uzumaki village was. Uzumaki village was currently at a crucial stage of nation building. If a bombshell were to be dropped at this time, it would inevitably provoke the united hostility of the five great nations. A nation without allies can hardly survive for long. Let's wait and see. Once the hype surrounding my return to the village has died down, if the four great nations are still overly suspicious of Uzumaki village, I'll follow Hashirama's example and visit each nation one by one. Joshua secretly decided. He didn't care who was behind it all. He couldn't stand by and watch Uzumaki village be targeted. Whoever wanted the Uzumaki clan wiped out, he would make sure they perished first. He had the confidence to do so. The two brothers had been separated for more than half a year, and Ashina had a lot to say to his second brother. That night, Joshua and he had a long talk by candlelight. They talked about the various nations of the ninja world, the different ninja clans, Uzumaki village, and finally, their conversation returned to their family. After becoming a father, Ashina felt a lot of pressure. especially since Uzumaki Ryu had recently officially put him in charge of the village chief position. Although he hadn't officially relinquished the position, he had already been entrusted with handling various administrative affairs. Every morning when Ashina woke up, the first thing he saw was his wife and children, then his clan, and then the village. The heavy burden on his shoulders almost made him breathless. Listening to his younger brother's complaints, Jojuan felt sorry for him. He was only 18 years old, just graduated high school in modern society, yet his brother was living a life more difficult than that of a 40 or 50-year-old. It was heartbreaking to think about. Go for it, Jojuan comforted him. Father and I believe in you, and the clan and villagers believe in you too. Whatever you do, we will fully support you. A true man should act decisively and freely. Your every word and action concerns the future of hundreds of thousands of villagers. They aren't anxious, so why are you frowning? After a long night of talking, Lu Ming's long-suppressed bitterness was released and dissolved, leaving him feeling refreshed and relieved. The next morning, after eating breakfast prepared by Pippa, Jojuan played with his little nephew for a while. Lu Ming couldn't speak yet, only babbling and waving his short limbs wildly, so cute that one couldn't resist pinching his cheeks. This kid probably won't be as mischievous as Zhongzhen when he grows up, Jojuan thought. The thought that his sister and brother both had sons while he remained single since birth filled him with a strange melancholy. Following the instructions of the Whirlpool Dragon, Jojuan went to work at the police department. He had become a prominent figure in Whirlpool Village, receiving utmost respect from both clansmen and villagers alike, a treatment he could never have enjoyed before his disappearance. He had finally gotten his fill of being in the limelight. If I could, I wouldn't want to be in the limelight so much, Jojuan sighed. The more limelight he received, the more work he had to do. The Whirlpool Dragon clearly wanted him into the leadership of Whirlpool Village, but he was inherently a person who preferred a quiet life. Despite his kind words when he comforted Ashina last night, it was all just empty talk. If you were in Ashina's shoes, he would be even more miserable. Young Master Jojuan is here. I knew young Master Jojuan would come to our police department. I've been waiting since early this morning. Soon, Jojuan arrived at the police department, greeted by enthusiastic shouts from the crowd. Compared to 6 months ago, the police department's manpower has increased by half. Besides the Uzumaki clan members, they've also recruited many civilian ninjas, many of whom are unfamiliar faces to Jojuan. No need for such formalities. We work in the same department, so let's treat each other as friends, Jojuan responded to everyone, trying not to stand out. Hearing this, everyone admired him even more, feeling that he truly deserved his many years as an unsung hero. Despite his high reputation, he acted so approachable and without any airs. Quiet. Suddenly, a delicate voice rang out. A beautiful red-haired girl walked out of the office. Everyone's expression changed slightly upon seeing her, and they respectfully said, "Lord Mustard Seed, don't gather around here. Go out and patrol, each of you," the girl said coldly. "The ninjas of the 4 countries are eyeing our Uzumaki village with hostility, and we are responsible for protecting the safety of the people. We cannot be negligent in the slightest." "Yes," everyone responded, then donned their equipment and went out to carry out their daily patrol duties. "Lord Mustard Seed, what am I supposed to do?" Jojuan asked. The girl's full name was Uzumaki Mustard. Since the establishment of the police department, she had served as its head, making her Jojuan's direct superior. Rank naturally carried weight, so he should address her as Sir. "You'll patrol the eastern streets with me, the defenses there are weaker," Mustard said, her icy expression softening slightly when her gaze fell on Jojuan. Okay, Mustard's personality wasn't as spoiled as Rika, nor as gentle as Mito. Instead, she was like an iceberg, creating a sense of distance just by looking at her. Jojuan found it rather uncomfortable being with her. They weren't familiar with each other and had nothing to talk about. They'd walked all morning without a break, becoming nothing more than patrol machines. At this moment, Jojuan began to miss Uzumaki Kid and Uzumaki Scurry, finding working with men more enjoyable. They could chat and joke around, and also slack off and relax. Actually, before reporting to the police department that morning, Jojuan had made other arrangements. He created 4 shadow clones to gather intelligence from various ninja clans. Although he had learned a lot from Ashina the previous night, it wasn't enough. He needed to know more. The information he truly wanted was highly sensitive, potentially leading people to associate him with a masked hero, so he couldn't ask Ashina too many questions and had to obtain it himself. Before evening, Jojuan and Mustard's patrol team made a discovery. A ninja from the land of Earth had infiltrated Uzushio village underground using the Iwaga cure technique. He was indeed very cautious, but unfortunately, he didn't know how to conceal his aura with sealing techniques, and Jojuan easily detected his chakra fluctuations. A successful first day on the job. I'm truly a model employee of Uzushio village. Jojuan glanced at his oblivious teammates beside him, inwardly chuckling, before a Vajra chain shot out from his palm. Chapter 154 Eternal Kaleidoscope. Bang! To the astonishment of Jeezy and the others, the Vajra chain pierced through the concrete ground and plunged straight into the earth. Jojuan gripped the other end of the chain and pulled hard, forcibly pulling a middle-aged man out of the ground. The Vajra chain bound him tightly like a dumpling, its sealing power activated, restricting the flow of chakra within his body. Damn it! How did you find me? The man glared at Jojuan, demanding angrily. He was extremely confident in his stealth abilities, even facing the Vodex dragon, he was confident he could slip past him under his nose. He never expected a young man to find him so easily. Jojuan ignored him and turned to look at Jeezy. Jeezy immediately understood his meaning and ordered his subordinates, take him away. Two police officers stepped forward and, without a word, escorted the middle-aged man to the village chief's building. Such spies, once captured, often meet a tragic end. First, they endure severe torture. Once enough information is extracted, they are either killed or sent to labor camps. Labor camps include mining, farming, and construction. Basically, they're treated like livestock, and dying from exhaustion is no big deal. Of course, if their faction is willing to pay a hefty ransom for their release, Jojuan believes his father would gladly agree. Mustard watched the man being escorted away, then suddenly exclaimed, Jojuan, you've really changed. Oh? How? Jojuan asked with a smile. Mustard wanted to answer, but opened her mouth and couldn't utter a word. She realized she didn't understand Jojuan at all. Before, she thought Jojuan was just the village chief's foolish son and had never paid him any attention. But after Ashina revealed Jojuan's actions, she understood that he wasn't the village chief's foolish son at all. On the contrary, he possessed unparalleled intelligence and was a hidden genius. His only flaw was his strength. But he had received the Immortal's guidance, and now that flaw had been overcome. The village chief came to see me last night. He wants to set us up. Jeezy hesitated for a moment, then answered slowly, seemingly unrelated to the question. Jojuan was taken aback by her words, but fortunately, he wasn't an ordinary person. He calmly asked, so, what does Lady Jeezy think? I think we can give it a try, Jeezy said, looking at Jojuan with a serious expression. Jojuan, he really wanted to say, Lady Jeezy, you're not good enough for me, let's forget it. We're not really compatible, Jojuan politely declined. Okay, fine then, Jeezy nodded, not feeling regretful or disappointed. She just thought she could give it a try with Jojuan. Even if it didn't work out, it wouldn't matter. Although her impression of Jojuan had changed a lot, it was far from being love. The teammates next to them were completely dumbfounded, thinking, did young Master Jojuan and Lady Jeezy just have a blind date? This blind date was too casual. We mortals can't understand it. As the sun set, Jojuan, Jeezy, and the others clocked out on time, and another group of police officers came to relieve them. Even ninjas need rest, they can't patrol 24/7. When Jojuan returned home, Biwa, a full-time housewife taking care of the children, had already prepared a hot meal for him. He understood that Uzumaki Ryu and Ashina hadn't returned, these were turbulent times, and his father and younger brother, as pillars of Uzumaki village, must have had many matters to handle. Second brother, thank you for comforting Ashina last night. I can see he's much better today, Biwa said, blushing slightly at the dinner table. Jojuan waved his hand magnanimously, no need for thanks, we're family. Family doesn't need formalities, yes, Biwa nodded vigorously, somewhat moved. Don't worry, Ashina is undergoing a transformation. Once he gets through this pressure, he'll grow into a true man, Jojuan comforted his sister-in-law, reassuring her. After dinner, with nothing to do, Jojuan started playing with his little nephew. He initially enjoyed it, but quickly lost interest because the child kept drooling, making his face all wet and rather disgusting. So he handed the child back to Pippa and went back to his room to rest. Now I can organize the intelligence. I wonder how much the shadow clones have gathered. They shouldn't disappoint me, Jojuan thought to himself, sitting cross-legged on the bed. With a thud, the 4 shadow clones he had sent out that morning all exploded, sending 4 streams of memories back to his main body. Zhou reviewed the intelligence gathered by the shadow clones one by one, his brow furrowing involuntarily as time passed. Most of the intelligence gathered by the shadow clones was related to the war. Currently, about 1/3 of the ninja clans in the Land of Fire agreed with Hashirama's village-building philosophy and joined the Senju's forces. However, 2/3 of the ninja clans were hostile to Hashirama. To prevent their clans from being conquered by Hashirama through violence, they banded together and chose to ally with the Uchiha clan, including the Hyuga and Sarutobi clans. My brother-in-law has become a public enemy because of this. The original work only briefly mentions that Hashirama pacified the warring states period, but it doesn't say how difficult the process was. Madara awakened the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan? How did he do it? Suddenly, a piece of information caught Zhou attention. He carefully reviewed the memories of his shadow clone and quickly learned the cause and effect of Madara's awakening. 2 months ago, when he was still recovering from his injuries in Shikatsu Forest, the Senju and Uchiha clans clashed in a large-scale battle in Kazuma Valley. Uchiha Tajima and Senju Batsuma perished in that battle, and it was after that battle that Madara awakened the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, greatly increasing his eye power. His perfect Susanoo could even directly contend with Hashirama's Senju True Tree. This is different from the original story. Zhou thoughts were complicated. Although his shadow clone didn't know the detailed process of Madara awakening his Mangekyou Sharingan, he could guess that Madara must have taken Uchiha Tajima's Mangekyou Sharingan and fused it with his own, thus achieving the Eternal Eye. In the original story, Madara achieved eternity by merging with Izuna's Mangekyou Sharingan. This change was Zhou's doing, since Tajima's Mangekyou Sharingan was forced out of him by Zhou when he was disguised as Black Zetsu, and Tajima in the original story didn't have a Mangekyou Sharingan. Did my in-laws ultimately perish together with Tajima? A touch of sadness welled up in Zhou's heart. He had a particularly good impression of Senju Batsuma. He still remembered that when he was escorted to the Senju clan's territory as a bride, Senju Batsuma had given him and Ashina an extremely warm welcome and even tried to introduce him to Senju girls. Even after the Uzumaki and Senju clans broke off their alliance, whenever Zhou visited his sister in Senju territory to freeload, Senju Batsuma would always greet him with a smile, readily offering him his treasured wine without batting an eye. Sadly, he died. Chapter 155, Mobilizing and Persuading Various Tribes. Father must be feeling terrible. Uzumaki Ryu and Senju Batsuma had a very good relationship. Although Hashirama's insistence on not joining Uzushio village led to a severing of ties between the two, Zhou believed that given his father's character, he would definitely be saddened by Batsuma's death. The older generation is dwindling. Hyuga Tenfu, Kaguya, Senju Batsuma, Uchiha Tajima, and the old Sarutobi clan leader are all dead. They were among the 7 great ninja clans of the Land of Fire. Now, only father and the old Kirima clan leader are alive. And this hasn't even been a few years. War is truly cruel. Zhou sighed deeply. He didn't want the war to continue. As Hashirama said, war only brings suffering to everyone. He was willing to contribute his share to peace, which was also a way of protecting the ninja world. I'll go help Hashirama and make things easier for him in building the village, Zhou secretly decided. That night, he left a shadow clone in the house to impersonate him, while his main body burrowed underground and left Uzushio village. Sarutobi clan territory. Sarutobi Sasuke was holding a meeting with the elders of his clan. The Uchiha clan has started another war with the Senju clan today, Sarutobi Sasuke said in a deep voice. This time, Hashirama is no longer invincible. He was stopped by Madara Uchiha. Madara's Mangekyou Sharingan power has further increased, and his manifested Susanoo is enough to rival Hashirama head-on. Even Hashirama cannot defeat him. The elders were overjoyed upon hearing this. Really? Is the information accurate? Sarutobi Sasuke nodded solemnly. Absolutely. My scouts witnessed the entire battle during the day. Madara Uchiha used some method to greatly increase his combat power. He controlled his Susanoo to level a mountain with a single blow, showing no weakness compared to Hashirama. After the battle during the day, Madara Uchiha dispatched his clansmen to request reinforcements from other clans, intending to fight a decisive battle with the Senju clan in the near future. Excellent. Elder Sarutobi was the first to express his opinion. Among the Senju clan, we only fear Hashirama. If Madara Uchiha can truly rival Hashirama, and our clans join forces, we can definitely defeat the Senju clan. In that case, our chances of defeating the Senju clan are extremely high. Clan chief, I suggest we send all the clan's elite forces to reinforce Uchiha Madara. We must utterly crush the Senju clan in one battle. I second that. I also second that. Senju Hashirama is a wolf in sheep's clothing, attempting to conquer all ninja clans by force. Now, we finally have Uchiha Madara who can rival him. We must seize this opportunity, otherwise our Sarutobi clan will eventually become vassals of the Senju. The tent was filled with heated debate, all voices advocating war. Hearing the elders' impassioned speeches, Sarutobi Sasuke breathed a sigh of relief. He also advocated war, but previously, out of fear of Hashirama, he hadn't dared to openly confront the Senju clan. But now things were different. Hashirama was no longer invincible, at least someone could be his opponent. If he didn't seize the opportunity to fight the Senju to the death, the Sarutobi clan would surely end up like those smaller ninja clans, forcefully swallowed up by the Senju. Just as everyone's fighting spirit was high, a sudden voice rang in their ears, "Elders, may I have a word to say?" Everyone was startled and instinctively looked in the direction of the voice. A man dressed entirely in plain clothes and with his face covered emerged from the ground. "The masked hero," Sarutobi Sasuke exclaimed, surprised. The man's attire was exactly the same as the masked hero who had swept through the Four-Nation Coalition at Yanmen Pass. As a witness, he would never forget that scene. "That's right, it is I," Jojuan readily admitted. "I overheard your conversation just now, and I want to tell you that you may have misunderstood Clan Chief Hashirama." Upon hearing this, everyone, including Sarutobi Sasuke, exchanged bewildered glances. They weren't fools, they understood that the man had deliberately eavesdropped on their meeting, and his sudden visit to the Sarutobi clan's territory was most likely for ill intentions. "What have we misunderstood about Clan Chief Hashirama?" After a moment of silence, Sarutobi Sasuke was the first to speak, probing. If it were anyone else who had broken into the Sarutobi clan's territory at night, Sarutobi Sasuke would have been ruthless and would have joined forces with his clansmen to kill them. However, the person standing before him was a masked man who had single-handedly crushed the four great nations. Even if he lacked common sense, he wouldn't do something that would humiliate him. "You have a huge misunderstanding," Jojuan sighed. "Clan Chief Hashirama doesn't want to annex the various ninja clans. He genuinely wants to quell the chaos of the Warring States period and establish a village where all the clans can coexist harmoniously." He felt sorry for Hashirama, feeling that Hashirama had suffered too much misunderstanding from the world. The various ninja clans all believed that Hashirama wanted to annex them. If the village where all the clans were united, as Hashirama envisioned, were built, the Senju clan would become the biggest beneficiary, high above all other ninja clans. What they didn't know was that after Konoha was built, the Senju clan not only didn't become the biggest beneficiary, but instead declined and withered away. Decades later, only Tsunade remained, while the other ninja clans reaped enormous benefits. "Masked Lord, do you have any evidence that Hashirama genuinely wanted to pacify the chaotic world, rather than annex the various ninja clans?" Sarutobi Sasuke stared at Jojuan, cautiously probing. "Evidence?" Jojuan chuckled. "Time will be the best evidence. It will prove everything. A few years after the village is built, you'll know that Hashirama's words were true, and so am mine." The crowd exchanged speechless glances, thinking the masked man's words were utter nonsense. If they submitted to Hashirama and merged with him to build the village, wouldn't they be at his mercy? Even if they eventually discovered Hashirama had lied to them, they would be powerless to resist. "I know your concerns. I can guarantee you with my own integrity that you will never become vassals of the Senju. After the village is built, your Sarutobi clan will benefit more than any other ninja clan," Jojuan continued. He was telling the truth, the Sarutobi clan would indeed benefit greatly. "Your clan has even produced a Hokage, what more could you want?" Sarutobi Sasuke and the others remained silent. The masked man's identity and prestige were immense. Jojuan's promise to the Sarutobi clan under this identity made them somewhat waver. But they still dared not easily believe him. After all, this matter concerned the life and death of their entire clan. Jojuan did not pressure them to make an immediate decision, remaining silent alongside them, giving them time to weigh the pros and cons. This wait lasted a full half hour. Chapter 156. The world has suffered under Hashirama for too long. Half an hour later, Jojuan's patience wore thin. He was actually a very patient person, but he planned to visit every ninja clan at night, so he couldn't possibly spend all his time on the Sarutobi clan. "Let me put it simply," he said. "Yes, Uchiha Madara does possess power comparable to Hashirama, but I will stand with Hashirama. So even if more ninja clans ally with the Uchiha clan, they won't stand a chance." Upon hearing this, everyone's expressions changed, turning ashen. They knew the masked man wasn't speaking without reason. If he truly joined the battle, the Senju clan would be completely invincible within the Land of Fire, unless Uchiha Izuna could also significantly enhance his main Gekkai Sharingan power in a short period, like Madara. After the village is established, every ninja clan will be equal. There will be no one as a vassal of anyone else. Chief Sarutobi is a wise man. I believe you will make the right choice. Leaving these final words, Jojuan prepared to disappear underground. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, he noticed a little boy in the corner, about the same age as Zongzhen, looking extremely nervous. "What's your name?" Jojuan felt that boy looked familiar and asked him on a whim. The boy's breath caught in his throat. He first looked pleadingly at Sarutobi Sasuke, then mustered his courage to answer, I'm called Sarutobi Hiruzen." It was him after all. The third Hokage, the subject of much controversy in the original story. Jojuan gave the boy a deep look, then vanished from the spot. His departure was swift and decisive, but the Sarutobi clan members left behind were in an uproar. "Clan leader, what should we do? The masked man's intervention has complicated things. It was our oversight. We didn't realize the masked man was Hashirama's sworn brother. He would definitely help Hashirama." At this moment, every Sarutobi elder was somewhat panicked. They had initially believed that Madara Uchiha could rival Hashirama, and that the upcoming decisive battle would surely defeat the Senju clan. They never expected the masked man to enter the fray. Because of him alone, their advantage vanished instantly. "Now, we have no choice but to trust the masked man and Hashirama," Sarutobi Sasuke said weakly after struggling and hesitating for a long time, as if all his strength had been drained. They had no choice but to trust him. The masked man and Hashirama, working together, were enough to overthrow any nation in the ninja world. "Let's agree to Hashirama's proposal and establish a village with him," the elder said, speechless, no voices objecting, only sighs rising and falling. "Next, let's go find the Hyuga clan." Deep underground, Jojuan determined the next target to persuade. The Hyuga clan was doing the same thing as the Sarutobi clan, also holding an elders meeting. Madara's daytime confrontation with Hashirama, their battle being incredibly violent and earth-shattering, coupled with the fact that Hashirama has an opponent, was no small matter. Within half a day, almost every ninja clan that needed to know knew. Madara truly wanted a final battle with Hashirama, so he concentrated his forces as much as possible, sending people to request reinforcements from all the allied ninja clans, including Sarutobi, Hyuga, and Kurama. For many, tonight was destined to be a sleepless night. Jojuan didn't force his way into the Hyuga clan's territory, but instead went to the main gate and politely greeted the Hyuga clan members on night duty, asking them to inform Hyuga Tenin on his behalf. His approach to persuading different ninja clans naturally had to be different. As he expected, the Hyuga clan members were all surprised to see the masked man and immediately ran to inform the clan leader. In less than a quarter of an hour, Hyuga Tenin led a group of elders to personally greet him. "Masked brother, what brings you to our Hyuga clan's territory tonight?" Hyuga Tenin's laughter preceded his arrival, his manner extremely enthusiastic. Jojuan felt ashamed. Every time he faced Hyuga Tenin, he always felt a guilty sense of indebtedness. "Brother Tenin, to be honest, I have something to discuss with you tonight," he said bluntly. He could be hypocritical and polite with others, but with Hyuga Tenin, the more polite he was, the more indebted he felt. "What is it?" Hyuga Tenin asked curiously. Jojuan countered, "Has your Hyuga clan allied with the Uchiha clan to jointly attack the Senju?" "Yes." Hyuga Tenin knew that the masked elder brother and Hashirama were sworn brothers, and readily admitted it. "Our alliance is for a reason. It's because Hashirama Senju has gone too far. He's ambitious, using the guise of building a village to try and annex all the ninja clans of the Land of Fire, making them vassals of his Senju clan. Masked brother, I won't hide it from you. Hashirama Senju has incurred the wrath of many. Most of the ninja clans in the Land of Fire are hostile to him. In this battle, not only have our Hyuga clan and Uchiha allied, but the Sarutobi, Kurama, Nara, Akimichi, Hatake, and other ninja clans have also joined forces against him." Jojuan, he suddenly remembered, is saying, "The world has suffered under Hashirama for too long, He once again deeply understood Hashirama's hardships. Hashirama was clearly doing something good for everyone, something that would be remembered for generations, yet he faced opposition from everyone and carried the burden alone. Brother-in-law, thankfully I'm here to help you, so you'll suffer less. After thinking for a moment, Jojuan said seriously, Tenin brothers, you've all misunderstood Hashirama. Hashirama never intended to annex other ninja clans. He simply wanted to end the chaos and allow all ninja clans and civilians to live peaceful and prosperous lives. The land of fire has been in turmoil for too long. The long years of war have not only destroyed the homes of ordinary people, but also left the major ninja clans in a precarious situation. Everyone desperately needs a peaceful and prosperous world, and Hashirama is now creating that peace for the land of fire. You shouldn't oppose him. Upon hearing this, Tenin Hyuga and the elders beside him all showed varying degrees of change in expression. Tenin Hyuga said with a complicated expression, Hashirama Senju said the same thing, but we don't believe him. Hashirama's power was too strong, far beyond the level of other clan leaders, causing everyone to instinctively doubt and fear him. Then do you believe me? Jojuan asked. Tenin Hyuga was taken aback. I guarantee with my integrity that Hashirama truly only wants to end this chaotic world. Once the village is built, all ninja clans will be on equal footing, and no one will become anyone else's vassal, Jojuan solemnly promised. If Hashirama really annexes any ninja clan, I will personally kill him. All the Hyuga elders were deeply moved, struck by the weight of Jojuan's words. Hyuga Tenjin hesitated for a long time, finally raising his head as if making a momentous decision, and gritted his teeth, saying, all right. I believe in the masked elder brother. Our Hyuga clan will no longer ally with the Uchiha clan, nor will we send reinforcements to them. He didn't believe Hashirama, but he was willing to believe this masked elder brother he had only met 3 times. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 157 The Second Sharingan. Hyuga Tenin, of course, trusted the masked man. 4 years ago, the masked man had rescued his sister from Kurama Yachi's clutches. Later, he had helped the Hyuga clan kill Hazuki, the clan leader, and 6 months ago, he had decisively defeated the Four Nations Alliance. Every single one of his actions was earth-shattering and far-reaching, yet he himself hadn't sought any personal gain. This was undeniable. Such a righteous and selfless hero. If Hyuga Tenin didn't trust him, who else could he trust? Thank you, Brother Tenin. I will certainly not betray your trust, Jojuan said, bowing in gratitude. He was deeply moved. Aside from Hashirama, perhaps only Hyuga Tenin would trust him so completely. It was a pity his true identity shouldn't be known to Hyuga Tenin, otherwise, becoming sworn brothers with him would be quite nice. Masked brother, you are a chivalrous and patriotic hero. I may not trust Hashirama, but I will never doubt you, masked brother, Hyuga Tenin said earnestly. Jojuan was deeply moved and hesitated to speak. He patted Jojuan's shoulder and said in a deep voice, Brother Shinran, I don't know how to repay your trust. In short, I won't let you down. Everything is understood without words. I still have to go and persuade other ninja clans that oppose Hashirama. Time is tight, so I can't stay long. I'll find you again for a drink after the village is rebuilt. Alright, take care, masked brother. Hyuga Shinran watched Jojuan fly into the night sky. Only after his figure completely disappeared from sight did the Hyuga elders behind him ask, Clan leader, are we really going to submit to Hashirama and break the alliance with the Uchiha clan? Hyuga Shinran nodded calmly, of course. I've already said what I wanted to say. Do you also think that masked brother is an ambitious person? The elders looked at each other and remained silent. Hyuga Tenin continued, pass on my order to send envoys to the Senju clan. Tell Hashirama that we agree with his village-building philosophy and are willing to join his camp. However, we will not help him fight the Uchiha clan, nor will we obey his orders to wage war against any other ninja clan. Although he trusted the masked elder brother, he had his own bottom line. He wouldn't allow his clan to become a pawn in Hashirama's hands. That would truly make them vassals. After leaving the Hyuga clan, Jojuan quickly visited several other ninja clans, including Kurama, Nara, and Akimichi. Having gained experience from his previous 2 successful persuasion attempts, Jojuan was much more skillful and experienced. He used a combination of persuasion and threats. First, He appealed to their emotions, questioning whether they believed in him. If they did, great, they would all be friends. He urged them not to ally with the Uchiha and to support Hashirama. If they didn't believe him, that was fine too. They would see each other on the battlefield the next day, hoping their allies would be more resilient than the Four Nations Alliance. After going through this entire process, the various ninja clans were completely under Jojuan's control and had no choice but to submit. No unexpected incidents occurred. By the time dawn broke, most of the well-known ninja clans in the Land of Fire had been persuaded by Jojuan. He ignored the few smaller, dwindling clans, figuring they couldn't pose much of an obstacle to Hashirama. Madara, don't blame me. Jojuan thought to himself. Even without my interference, you wouldn't be a match for Hashirama. I just sped up the process so you could get to know him sooner, isn't that good? He actually harbored ulterior motives. He had designs on Madara's eyes. The Tenseigan could fuse with a Rinnegan to form the Sharingan, but Madara only had one Sharingan. A single eye wasn't perfect. If he could obtain two Sharingan, that would be truly perfect. Jojuan felt that he could start by acquiring the second Sharingan from Madara, but there was no rush. The conditions for fusing the Sharingan were extremely demanding, requiring both the Tenseigan and the Rinnegan, as well as a chakra reserve surpassing that of a tailed beast. There was plenty of time. He could prepare slowly. Besides, he couldn't even fully control a single Sharingan now. Even if he obtained a second one immediately, forcibly controlling it would likely harm him. One must take things one step at a time. There's no one in the ninja world who can threaten me anymore, except for the Otsutsuki aliens 70 or 80 years from now, who are a serious threat. A single Sharingan might be barely enough to deal with the Otsutsuki aliens, but two Sharingan should be no problem, Jojuan silently calculated. This was his plan, to fuse the second Sharingan before the Otsutsuki aliens descended. Regardless of whether he had researched the method of immortality or whether he was dead by then, as long as he had two Sharingan, he would have a way to deal with the Otsutsuki aliens. To give the ninja world a masked sage is not just empty talk. If the Otsutsuki family wants to destroy the ninja world, they must first get past him. The atmosphere at the Senju clan compound today is unusually desolate. Senju clan members draped in red and garb are everywhere, but no one smiles. The shadow of war hangs over the entire clan. Yesterday's battle with the Uchiha clan resulted in heavy casualties on both sides. Hashirama, following his brother's advice, temporarily led his clan back to the compound. At this moment, Hashirama sits cross-legged on a cliff behind the compound, gazing into the distance, lost in thought. This is his habit. Whenever he encounters something he can't understand, he likes to run to the cliff. Madara, do we really have to go that far? Hashirama's thoughts are in turmoil, his expression complex and unspeakable. Madara's sudden increase in strength was unexpected. He thought he could easily defeat Madara, but Madara's power yesterday far exceeded his expectations. Even using Sage Mode, he could only manage a draw. If he really wants to fight Madara to a draw, he must be prepared to kill him. Madara, why can't you support me? You also want to end this chaotic world. Our dreams are the same. Hashirama felt anguish. He truly didn't want to face Madara to the death. Madara held immense weight in his heart. But now, Madara had become the #1 obstacle to his efforts to pacify the world. Without eliminating Madara, the Land of Fire could not achieve peace. Brother, something terrible has happened. Just as Hashirama was struggling with this dilemma, Tobirama suddenly appeared behind him. What is it? According to our latest intelligence, the Uchiha clan sent reinforcement requests last night to all the allied ninja clans, including Sarutobi, Hyuga, Kurama, and Nara. Tobirama's voice was urgent. Uchiha Madara can now fight you head-on. Those ninja clans will definitely aid him without hesitation, which is extremely disadvantageous for us. Hashirama's expression instantly turned serious, realizing the gravity of the situation. If all the major ninja clans came to the aid of the Uchiha, the Senju clan would suffer heavy casualties in the next war. As the clan leader, Hashirama felt an unbearable pain at the sacrifice of each clan member. Chapter 158 The Masked Boss is amazing. Brother, perhaps we should postpone the village's construction plan for now, Tobirama suggested. Our Senju clan has attracted too much hatred. If we insist on building the village, it will inevitably provoke a strong backlash from other ninja clans. Previously, the Senju clan wasn't afraid of being hated by the major ninja clans because Hashirama possessed overwhelming power. Even if other clans retaliated, they couldn't threaten the Senju clan. But now it's different. Hashirama is no longer invincible, and the Senju clan has lost its greatest advantage. A life or death threat is immediately looming. Should we really postpone the village's construction? Hashirama hesitated, undecided. Unless we can kill Madara Uchiha, the safety of our clan members is not guaranteed in the face of attacks from various clans, Tobirama affirmed, prompting his elder brother to make a decision. Kill Madara, postpone the village's construction. Hashirama was caught in a dilemma. He didn't want to make either choice, but he had to make a decision. Hashirama, the Hyuga clan's envoy, has arrived, saying they are willing to join our side. At this moment, Mito suddenly rushed over, her face beaming with joy. What? Hashirama and Tobirama were both taken aback. After a moment's surprise, Hashirama was overjoyed and hurriedly asked, "Is the Hyuga clan really willing to join us? Those envoys are at the clan head's building now, you can go and see them," Mito replied with a smile. She knew Hashirama's current predicament, and the Hyuga clan's involvement would alleviate his immediate crisis. Undoubtedly good news. "Alright, I'll go right now." Without another word, Hashirama jumped off the cliff and headed straight for the clan head's building, with Tobirama and Mito following closely behind. Soon, Hashirama met 5 Hyuga envoys, one of whom was none other than the Hyuga elder, Hyuga Kyujin. "Greetings, clan head Hashirama," the elder and the others greeted respectfully. "No need for formalities, Elder Kyujin. Is the Tenin clan head truly willing to establish a village with us?" Hashirama asked. Hyuga Kyujin nodded. "Yes, our clan had a misunderstanding about clan chief Hashirama before. Now that the misunderstanding has been cleared up, please don't blame us, clan chief Hashirama. No blame, no blame. It's wonderful that you're willing to join us." Ha ha ha. Hashirama's true nature was revealed, and he laughed heartily. Tobirama, more astute than his older brother, asked suspiciously, "As far as I know, your clan previously formed an alliance with the Uchiha. Why have you suddenly joined us?" He worried there might be a trap. Hyuga Kyujin replied, "Last night, the masked man visited our clan's territory and explained the advantages and disadvantages of the village's construction. He also vouched for clan chief Hashirama with his own integrity, saying that clan chief Hashirama would never annex any ninja clan. We believed the masked man and clan chief Hashirama, so we abandoned our evil ways and joined the good." The masked man, Tobirama and Mito seemed to understand, realizing that it was the one who had helped Hashirama. "The masked man truly understands me. I must thank him properly someday," Hashirama said excitedly. Just then, the Senju elder suddenly entered the room. He glanced at the Hyuga envoy and whispered in Hashirama's ear, "Clan chief, the Sarutobi clan has sent an envoy, saying they wish to form an alliance with our clan." "What?" Hashirama was stunned for a moment, then became even more excited. Good news came one after another today. "Quickly, invite them in." He no longer bothered to hide the Hyuga envoy. After all, both clans wanted to form an alliance with him. Soon, the Sarutobi envoy entered. They weren't surprised to see the Hyuga envoy and respectfully greeted Hashirama. "Greetings, clan chief Hashirama, no need for formalities. Since we're forming an alliance, then we're family," Hashirama said happily, all the depression and distress he felt in the cliff disappearing completely. The Sarutobi envoy, maintaining his proper decorum, said respectfully, "Last night, the masked man visited our clan's territory and explained to us the benevolent heart of clan chief Hashirama in establishing the village and pacifying the chaotic world. Only then did we realize that we had misunderstood clan chief Hashirama before. This morning, we have severed our alliance with the Uchiha clan. Please forgive our clan's previous disrespect and offense." The masked man again, Tobirama and Mito were startled, exchanging a knowing glance, both surprised and delighted. The masked man had not only persuaded the Hyuga clan, but also the Sarutobi clan in one night, truly a remarkable individual. Hashirama was the most emotional, his eyes even reddening involuntarily. He solemnly told the Sarutobi envoy, "When you return, tell clan chief Sasuke that since he trusts the masked man and me so much, then he is my, Hashirama Senju's, own brother, and the Tenin clan chief, the same goes for him." Tobirama was speechless upon hearing this. "Did you even ask me before acknowledging him as your brother? This isn't how you win people's hearts." To be honest, the eldest brother's methods were incredibly weak. Hashirama then invited the envoys from both clans to sit down and formally discuss the alliance with him. At this moment, the second elder of the Senju clan rushed in, glanced at the envoys beside the wooden table, took a deep breath, and loudly proclaimed to Hashirama, "Clan chief, envoys from over a dozen ninja clans, including Kurama, Nara, Akimichi, Ino, Hatake, Inuzuka, Namikaze, Aburame, and Gecko, are requesting an audience outside our clan territory. They all wish to form an alliance with our clan. These words were like a thunderclap, exploding in everyone's minds. What? Hashirama was shocked. Mito and Tobirama were filled with disbelief. Even the envoys from the Hyuga and Sarutobi clans were deeply moved. They knew the masked man had visited more than just their clans last night, but they never expected him to have gathered so many ninja clans together. The Land of Fire was about to undergo a cataclysmic change. Quickly, invite them in. No, I'll go fetch them. Hashirama dashed out of the clan compound. At the main gate of the Senju clan compound, he met the representatives sent by each ninja clan. Greetings, clan head Hashirama. The representatives bowed in unison. Hashirama forcibly suppressed his surging emotions, and after a brief inquiry, he quickly learned from them that they had indeed been persuaded by the masked man. The masked man had tirelessly visited each clan in turn last night. Masked man is amazing. Hashirama burst into tears on the spot, a dignified hero weeping uncontrollably. He had proposed a village-building plan to quell the chaos, but it had been met with strong resistance from the ninja clans, causing him headaches and sleepless nights. Yet, the masked man had persuaded all the ninja clans that resisted him in just one night, without firing a single shot. Hashirama was utterly convinced of such ability. Unlike Hashirama, Tobirama was more thoughtful, and a chill ran through him. Fortunately, the masked man wasn't an enemy of the Senju clan. Otherwise, even if his elder brother possessed comparable strength, Tobirama's wisdom and strategy would have utterly destroyed his clan. Masked man, just who are you? Mito thought to himself, deeply impressed. Chapter 159. Do you still have the pride of the Uchiha clan? By the time Hashirama finished discussing the specifics of the alliance with the envoys from various ninja clans, it was already dusk. Finally, he stood at the gate of the clan compound, watching the envoys depart until they were completely out of sight. Even then, he didn't move, silently gazing into the distance, seemingly waiting for something. Brother, it's time to go back, Tobirama said. Yes, you go back first, I'll stand here a little longer, Tobirama sighed. As Hashirama's only younger brother, he naturally understood his older brother's thoughts. Uchiha Madara won't come, he said. Even if the masked swordsman could persuade over 90% of the ninja clans in the Land of Fire, he definitely couldn't persuade Uchiha Madara. He's arrogant and overconfident. Getting him to join us in establishing a village is as difficult as climbing to heaven. Hashirama remained silent. He had to admit that Tobirama was telling the truth. Brother, prepare yourself. The masked man persuaded the ninja clans, and combined with those who originally allied with us, we now have the recognition of the vast majority of ninja clans. Only a small number, led by the Uchiha clan, remain hostile. If you want to pacify this chaotic world and establish a village, you'll inevitably have a life or death battle with Uchiha Madara. You may not want to kill him, but he really will. Tobirama revealed the harsh reality. Tobirama was right. He could persuade other ninja clans to support Hashirama, but he couldn't persuade the Uchiha. Half a year ago, in order to fuse with the Rinnegan, he wiped out the entire Uchiha clan. The relationship between the two sides was far from friendly. He feared that before he even entered the gates of his clan's territory, the Uchiha clansmen would be charging towards him, howling in despair. At this moment, the atmosphere in the Uchiha clan's territory was extremely dejected. Hundreds of Uchiha clansmen all looked worriedly towards the clan head's building. They all knew about the changes that had occurred today. The major ninja clans that had originally allied with their clan against the Senju clan had almost all turned against them in a single day. This news was a devastating blow to their clan, deeply troubling every member. In the clan head's building, Madara Uchiha was discussing countermeasures with the elders. That masked man is truly an enemy of the Uchiha clan, ruining our great cause, the first elder lamented, his heart filled with more helplessness than anger. Originally, their clan, allied with the ninja clans of the Land of Fire, had a strong chance of completely crushing the Senju clan in the upcoming decisive battle, even annihilating them. But because of a single masked man, all their advantages had turned into disadvantages. The masked man and Hashirama Senju are certainly hateful, but this time we truly have no other choice, the second elder sighed. Although the clan head has awakened the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, he can only hold off Hashirama Senju alone. If the masked man also joins the battle, the clan head will, he hesitated, not finishing his sentence, But the elders understood his meaning, their faces darkening. No one knew better than them how terrifying the masked man was. The shadow he cast on their clan 6 months ago was still vivid in their minds. Some elders even felt that even if Madara awakened the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, he still wouldn't be a match for the masked man in a one-on-one fight. In my opinion, perhaps we should surrender, the fourth Uchiha elder hesitated. With a masked man's assistance and the support of most of the ninja clans, the gap between us and Hashirama Senju is simply too vast. Forcibly opposing the Senju clan would only be like throwing an egg against a rock. These words, intended to undermine morale, surprisingly received no rebuttal. The remaining elders fell into an eerie silence. How? Izuna suddenly sneered. Why are you all so silent? Do you all think we're going to surrender to the Senju clan? Don't forget, we're mortal enemies with the Senju clan. We have a blood feud. An elder couldn't help but say, of course we don't want to surrender to the Senju, but given the current situation, what can we do? That's right, another elder echoed, surrendering to the Senju would give us a sliver of hope, but if we continue to fight, we'll likely be wiped out. Bang! Izuna slammed his fist on the table, furious. Do you still have any pride as Uchiha clan members? Do you remember the glory of our Uchiha ancestors? So what if we were wiped out? Even if we die in battle, we Uchiha clan members will never bow down to the enemy. Everyone fell silent, and several guilty elders didn't even dare to meet Izuna's sharp gaze. The Uchiha clan members certainly had pride, certainly had courage, but they felt that such a sacrifice was meaningless. The gap between them and the Senju was too great. To fight was certain death. Why couldn't they preserve the clan's lineage? Everyone has different opinions, I understand you. At this moment, Madara, who had remained silent in the main seat, spoke, his words immediately gripping everyone's hearts. Now, those who think we should surrender to the Senju, raise your right hand. Those who think we should fight the Senju to the death, raise your left hand. The elders exchanged glances, hesitated briefly, and then raised their hands. You? Izuna roared in fury, pointing at the elders present, almost striking them in anger. A quarter of the elders raised their left hands, while 3/4 raised their right. Izuna, don't speak, Madara said coldly. Izuna forcibly suppressed his anger and sat down in a huff. Madara suddenly found it laughable. Back when he wasn't yet the clan leader, he had said he wanted to resolve the hatred with the Senju clan, but was fiercely criticized by his clansmen. Therefore, after becoming the clan leader, he could only bury his bond with Hashirama deep in his heart, helplessly being dragged by his clansmen to stand against Hashirama. Now that he's determined to fight Hashirama to the death, his clansmen who criticized him back then want to surrender. How ridiculous. I understand, but you all disappoint me. Madara swept his gaze over the elders, rebuking them mercilessly. Before today, you were all passionately shouting that you wanted to fight the Senju clan to the death, but in less than a day, your courage has been shattered. You don't even dare to raise your swords against the Senju clan. Clan leader, things are different now. The masked hero, what about the masked hero? Madara suddenly raised his voice, those 3 words touched upon his most humiliating memories. Is the masked hero necessarily invincible? I admit, I was no match for the masked hero half a year ago, but if I encountered him again today, I would definitely kill him. The elder hesitated, unable to finish his sentence. To tell you the truth, I didn't use my full strength in my battle with Hashirama yesterday. The power of the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan far exceeds your imagination. Even if Hashirama and the masked man team up, I'm confident I can defeat both of them. Madara's words were forceful and domineering, leaving everyone speechless and unable to refute him. Pass on my orders. The plan to fight the Senju clan proceeds as scheduled. Anyone who hesitates to fight, get out. Chapter 160. The sky cleared, the rain stopped, and Banyu felt he was back to normal. Our Uchiha clan cannot tolerate cowards. If anyone fears the masked hero and Hashirama, they should go and beg the Senju clan for mercy. Perhaps Hashirama will take pity on them and spare their lives, Madara said coldly. His words weren't particularly hurtful, but they were extremely insulting. The elder who had just raised his right hand immediately felt the insult, his face burning as if he'd been slapped. Therefore, until the meeting adjourned, none of the elders uttered another word, silently leaving the clan building. Brother, even the elders have become cowards, let alone the clan members. Just one masked hero has shattered the morale of our clan, Izuna said angrily, hating the clan members for not being tough enough. It was easy to imagine that when the elders announced the results of this meeting to the clan members, it would cause a huge reaction. and some clan members might even desert and surrender to the Senju clan. Madara's reaction was calm. He said expressionlessly, "The elders have become weak because they don't believe I can kill the masked men and Hashirama. When the final battle arrives, they will naturally realize their mistake and regret their actions today. Brother, are you really confident you can handle both the masked men and Hashirama at the same time?" Izuna suddenly asked. Madara paused for a moment, then nodded. "Of course I'm confident. They are nothing to fear." Although Madara had only faced Hashirama directly yesterday and didn't even know if Hashirama had gone all out, he possessed a strong, invincible belief that he could defeat any enemy. Madara didn't know that his confidence stemmed from the Indra chakra within him, much like Sasuke in the original story, who, having only awakened a basic main Jakkyou Sharingan, dared to recklessly challenge the five Kage. Both of them were reincarnations of Indra, sharing the same confidence. Seeing his elder brother's confidence, Izuna breathed a sigh of relief, then said resentfully, "It's a pity that Tobirama always entangles me on the battlefield, preventing me from getting away. Otherwise, I could definitely lend you a hand. I don't need your help. Just protect yourself," Madara reminded his younger brother. Tobirama is known as the greatest ninjutsu developer in 500 years. He's no ordinary person. You must be extremely cautious when fighting him. Don't worry, brother. I've fought Tobirama so many times. I'll kill him eventually, just like you killed the masked men and Hashirama. Izuna was actually very unwilling. If he hadn't used his curse-killing eye technique on the masked man half a year ago, causing the technique to still be on cooldown, Tobirama would have died countless times at his hands. Afterward, the two brothers discussed the final battle for a while, and Izuna went out to make arrangements for the clan. As he stepped across the threshold, Madara suddenly called out to him, "Izuna, forget about Tano-senpai." Izuna shook her head. "She's like father, I'll never forget her." Madara paused, and when he came to his senses, Izuna was already far away. Like father, Madara reached up to touch his eyes. He only saw Uchiha Tano as a former mentor who taught him swordsmanship, unlike Izuna, with whom he harbored such intense feelings. He might forget her in a few years, but he would never forget Uchiha Tajima. As his father, Uchiha Tajima not only gave him life but also a pair of eternal main Jakkyou Sharingan. "Father, I will definitely fulfill your last wish and annihilate the Senju clan. Hashirama, you're not the only one who can build a village. I can too, and I can do it better than you." Even now, Madara still shares the same dream as Hashirama, to end the Warring States period. However, in the prosperous era he wants to create, there is no place for the Senju clan. Only one of him and Hashirama can survive. In the mountains dozens of miles from the Uchiha clan's territory, Jojuan stood atop a massive tree, thick enough for 8 people to encircle, his left eye tightly closed, his right eye a blend of blue and white, fixed on the direction of the Uchiha clan's territory. While a normal Byakugan wouldn't be able to see over such a distance, the Sharingan could easily do so. It's worth noting that Jojuan had mastered a new technique, lip reading, during his training in the 8 Gates, allowing him to understand the entire content of the Uchiha elders meeting without needing the wind release, hearing the wind technique. The sky has cleared, the rain has stopped, and Madara thinks he's all-powerful again, Jojuan muttered to himself. Madara's arrogance surpassed even Sasuke's. He couldn't even beat Hashirama, yet he wanted to tie him up and fight Hashirama together? How dare he? So ordinary, yet so confident. Jojuan almost couldn't resist going over and giving Madara another beating. After some thought, he restrained himself and decided to save the beating for the final battle. Black Zetsu had already been sealed, so the battle at the Valley of the End would naturally not happen. The final battle Jojuan was referring to was the one Madara believed would be a life-or-death struggle with Hashirama. With Konoha about to be established, Jojuan saw no need to create unnecessary complications. Beating Madara now would be pointless. He wanted to keep Madara in Konoha to prepare for fusing a second Rinnegan. This would allow Madara to have a peaceful end, satisfy his own selfish desires, and also benefit Hashirama, a triple win. The original story doesn't explain the cause of my brother-in-law's death, but in my opinion, there are only 2 possibilities. 1, he became depressed and despondent after killing Madara. 2, he overused wood release during the battle with Madara, depleting his life force. Regardless of the possibility, I cannot let my brother-in-law fight Madara again, Jojuan silently thought. He wanted to change Hashirama's untimely death, a determination even stronger than using Madara to fuse with a second Sharingan. If Madara truly threatened Hashirama's life, Jojuan would eliminate him without hesitation. After all, Eyes were merely external objects, while family was real family. He couldn't stand by and watch Mito live a life of widowhood. The Uchiha clan has begun to distrust Madara and is developing resentment towards him, just like in the original story. Unchanged, Jojuan continued to use his Sharingan to spy on the Uchiha clan's territory. After learning that Madara intended to persist in the fight against the Senju clan, the Uchiha clan members reacted violently. Dozens of Uchiha even gathered together, intending to storm the clan head's building to demand that Madara change his mind, but they were repelled by Izuna and punished. That's enough for now. Jojuan cut off the chakra flowing to his right eye, and the blue and white Sharingan instantly split into the Tenseigan and Rinnegan. After much practice, he has mastered the ability to merge or separate his two eyes, but he has not yet reached the point where he can do it at will. He can still only maintain the Sharingan mode for 10 minutes. Chapter 161 The Final Battle. Jojuan left behind a shadow clone to secretly monitor the Uchiha clan's movements, while his main body returned to Uzushio village to await the final battle. For the next few days, Jojuan refrained from any major actions as the masked hero, staying in Uzushio village to enjoy his heroic glory. Frankly, being a hero isn't easy. Since becoming famous, his life had been magnified and exposed to the public eye. Wherever he went, he was the center of attention, constantly under scrutiny, which made him, accustomed to a low profile, quite uncomfortable. Moreover, his workload had increased significantly compared to before his disappearance. He was promoted by Uzumaki Dragon to deputy director of the police department, with 10 guard squads, each with 20 men, directly under his command. No member of the police department objected to Jojuan's promotion. They even felt that it would be perfectly normal for Uzumaki Dragon to make Jojuan the village chief's successor, let alone just the entire police department. After all, given Jojuan's past contributions to Uzushio village, no matter what position he was given, it wouldn't be excessive. Anyone who objected should first consider whether they were qualified. Alright, the capable should do more, I'll endure it. Although Jojuan was very unwilling, he ultimately swallowed a burden his father had placed on him. He believed that he just needed to get through this period. Once the final war ended and Konoha was established, the 4 great nations would follow suit and establish their own ninja villages, leaving no extra energy to target Uzushio village. At that time, he could return to his leisurely and easy life. So, I hope the final war starts soon, Jojuan thought to himself. He was getting impatient. On the 4th day after being betrayed by the various ninja clans, the Uchiha clan issued a challenge to the Senju clan. Madara stated in the challenge that he would have a decisive battle with Hashirama in Kazuma Valley in half a month. Hashirama remained silent for a day before finally responding to the challenge, agreeing to the decisive battle. He had no choice but to fight. This battle wasn't just for the Senju clan, but also for all the civilian ninja clans in the Land of Fire. Even if he didn't want to be enemies with Madara, he had no way out. Why another half a month? Madara's so inefficient, Jojuan muttered privately, dissatisfied with Madara's pace. He hoped the final battle would erupt tomorrow. For the next half-month, to maintain his heroic image, Jojuan forced himself to be dedicated, diligently fulfilling his duties as deputy head of the police department. Every day, he led a large group of subordinates to patrol the village inside and out. After a while, he achieved considerable success, uncovering over a dozen spies from the 4 great nations. As the day of the decisive battle between the Uchiha and Senju drew closer, the situation in the Land of Fire grew increasingly tense, a chilling atmosphere permeating the air. Uzushio village was also affected. Undoubtedly, the outcome of this decisive battle between the Uchiha and Senju would determine the future direction of the Land of Fire, a trend that would affect everyone. Those ninja clans who betrayed the Uchiha and allied with the Senju, while believing that Madara wouldn't stand a chance against Hashirama and the masked swordsman, feared an unexpected turn of events. They worried that if Hashirama were to lose, Madara would be the first to purge them. Therefore, even though Hashirama remained silent, each clan successively dispatched its elite forces to reinforce the Senju, aiming to help Hashirama win the final battle. The same was true for Uzushio village. The final battle between the Uchiha and Senju clans is of paramount importance. Our Uzushio village can no longer remain neutral, we must choose one side to support, Uzumaki Ryu said solemnly at the village's high-level meeting. The Uzumaki elders unanimously agreed. The village chief is absolutely right. Regardless of the outcome of the final battle, one of those 2 clans will inevitably become the overlord of the Land of Fire, Posing a significant threat to our Uzashio village, I propose that we send troops to aid the Senju, with a connection to Mito. If Hashirama wins the final battle and establishes the village, he certainly won't make things difficult for us. The Uchiha clan, however, might not be so forgiving, since we were once their enemy. The meeting proceeded very smoothly, as everyone shared the same idea and unanimously decided to help Hashirama. Father, I'll lead a team to support the Senju, Jojuan volunteered. Uzumaki Ryu pondered for a moment and nodded in agreement. Alright, tomorrow you will lead 10 squads from the police department to the Senju clan's territory. Elder, second elder, and third elder, the three of you will accompany Jojuan. All actions will be led by him. Even if Jojuan hadn't asked, Uzumaki Ryu would have given him this task, as it was a great opportunity to enhance his prestige and pave the way for his entry into the core decision-making level. Yes, the first elder, second elder, and third elder answered respectfully. Many people had seen through Uzumaki Dragon's thoughts. If it were the Jojuan who had been hiding his abilities in the past, the three elders would not have been willing to assist him. But now they all knew Jojuan's capabilities, so they were naturally willing to support him to the position. Their era had passed, and the next generation of Uzumaki village belonged to the young. The older generation should continue to contribute their remaining energy. This was the will of the Vortex. The next day, Jojuan and the three elders led 200 ninjas to the Senju clan's territory. When they arrived, the Senju clan's territory was already overcrowded, filled with elite forces sent by various ninja clans to reinforce them. The Senju clan's territory, which was not very large to begin with, was packed with people. Jojuan, Mito had received news in advance that her younger brother was bringing reinforcements and had been waiting outside the clan's territory. As soon as she saw Jojuan, she immediately came to greet him. Why did you use your summoning technique so recklessly? We've been worried sick for the past 6 months, Mito said with heartache, looking at her younger brother's thin face, wondering how much suffering he had endured under the sage's tutelage. The Whirlpool Dragon had already sent her a letter telling her about Jojuan's experiences after his disappearance. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, sister. I'm a top-tier fighter now, Jojuan said with a smile. Even if you've improved, don't be arrogant, Mito warned seriously, afraid that her brother would show off on the battlefield. I know, don't worry. Do you still think I'm a child? Jojuan was quite speechless, feeling that in his sister's eyes, he had never matured. Take me to my brother-in-law first. I have a few details to discuss with him regarding the alliance between Whirlpool Village and the Thousand Hands. He deliberately spoke in a business-like tone, trying to show his maturity. To his surprise, Mito raised an eyebrow upon hearing this, then flicked Jojuan's forehead with a flick of her wrist, huffing, Father's situation is already giving me enough headaches, and you're adding to my troubles. Jojuan immediately felt wronged. Sister, you're wronging me. I'm not adding to the troubles. Father really wants me to negotiate the details with my brother-in-law. If we can reach an agreement, he'll help the Senju clan. If not, I have to go back. I'm just following orders. Alright, come with me. Mito knew her father's temperament well, her expression shifting slightly as she led Jojuan toward the clan head's building. Chapter 162 My father is helping the Great Ming. Hashirama was meeting with representatives of various ninja clans. Listening to their lively discussions about how to fight the final battle against the Uchiha clan, how to severely injure or even kill Madara Uchiha, Hashirama felt a sudden, inexplicable sense of unease. His original intention had never been to kill Madara, but as more and more ninja clans became involved in the war, many things were gradually beyond his control. Just as the discussion was in full swing, Mito suddenly entered and whispered in Hashirama's ear, "My father has something to discuss with you." Hashirama's eyes lit up, thinking that Uzumaki Ryu himself had arrived. He quickly stood up, temporarily excused himself from the representatives, and asked Tobirama to stay in his place, while he followed Mito to another meeting room. Father-in-law, up, Jojuan. Hashirama looked at Jojuan and the three Uzumaki elders in the meeting room in surprise, then turned to look at Mito. Brother-in-law is me. My father didn't come, he sent me as the representative of Uzumaki village, Jojuan said with a smile. Jojuan, it's so good to see you back safe and sound. After an initial moment of surprise, Hashirama smiled happily, patting Jojuan's shoulder and asking after him with concern. I heard from Mito that you used your spirit to travel to Shikatsu Forest half a year ago to become the apprentice of the Slug Sage. Yes, that's right, my sage mode was also taught by the Slug Sage, She's my master too. How has she been lately? She's doing well. She mentioned you, brother-in-law, and the masked hero to me. If it weren't for the slug sage's aversion to being disturbed, I would definitely visit her again to thank her, Hashirama said with emotion. Jojuan estimated that Hashirama could chatter on and on for a long time, so he changed the subject. Brother-in-law, let's talk about business first. I brought my clan here this time, carrying my father's mission. Hashirama hesitated. Is father-in-law now willing to build a village with us? Jojuan was embarrassed, thinking that Hashirama was really a simpleton. The Uzumaki clan already has Uzushiagakure village. How can we build a village together with you? Demolish and rebuild Uzushiagakure village. Jojuan didn't answer directly, but asked instead. Brother-in-law, may I ask why you want to build a village? Of course, it's to pacify the chaotic world. Only by building a village where all ninja clans are integrated can the various ninja clans put aside their prejudices and live in harmony, fundamentally solving the war, Hashirama blurted out without thinking. A remarkable ideal, Jojuan affirmed, then changed the subject. But, brother-in-law, after your village is built, how will the status of each ninja clan be divided? Hashirama shook his head. Besides one person in charge leading the whole village, the status of each ninja clan will be equal. There will be no more differences in status, and the village chief will be elected by the various ninja clans, not inherited. Brother-in-law, your idea is good, but in this way, you absolutely cannot let the Uzumaki clan get involved, Jojuan said solemnly. Hashirama asked, puzzled, why? Currently, the Uzumaki clan members and commoners of Uzushio village total 480,000 people. These 480,000 are predominantly Uzumaki, while the entire Land of Fire's ninja clans combined only number 20,000 to 30,000, less than a fraction of Uzushio village's population. Jojuan continued his analysis. If the Uzumaki clan were to merge with other clans to build a village, the 20,000 to 30,000 people of each clan would be instantly swallowed up by Uzushio village's 480,000. How could the Uzumaki clan then maintain equal status with the other clans? At that time, the entire village would inevitably submit to the Uzumaki clan as its leader, and the other clans would passively become vassals. And those ninja clans, each more arrogant than the last, would certainly not allow the Uzumaki clan to ride roughshod over them. Over time, conflicts would erupt, even leading to division and war. Hashirama frowned, lost in thought. He realized Jojuan's words made perfect sense. He had always hoped that Uzumaki Dragon would agree to his request to build a village, but he hadn't considered the consequences of merging the Uzumaki clan with other clans. Brother-in-law, you have to face the facts, Jojuan said earnestly. Now, if other ninja clans want to coexist peacefully with the Uzumaki clan, the only way is to be annexed by them. We can no longer maintain an equal status with any other ninja clan. Therefore, if you really want to build a village where all clans are united, you can't bring the Uzumaki clan into it. Hashirama couldn't help but say, but if the Uzumaki clan doesn't join us, my father-in-law will definitely split Uzumaki village out of the Land of Fire in the future. I know he's always wanted to do that, but the time isn't right. Is there anything wrong with Uzumaki village becoming an independent country? Jojuan interrupted. Hashirama was anxious. The splitting of the Land of Fire is a huge deal. It will make the already chaotic world even more chaotic, adding insult to injury. Not at all, Jojuan calmly refuted. Brother-in-law, you've been to Whirlpool Village many times. Honestly, what do you think of the villagers' lives? Hashirama paused, then answered truthfully, they're doing very well. Everyone has enough to eat and lives in peace and contentment. That's right, brother-in-law. We're on the same side, and we don't lie to each other. Let me be frank with you, the daimyo is incompetent. If he were, he wouldn't have allowed the Land of Fire to be in chaos for so many years, causing so many civilians to be displaced and starving. It's the same principle as leading an army. A capable general can lead 500,000 soldiers, while a mediocre general can only lead 100,000. My father was a capable general, while the daimyo was mediocre and incompetent. Back then, my father started from scratch in those circumstances and built a prosperous Whirlpool village in just a few years, protecting the lives of countless civilians. Can the daimyo do that? No, he can't. To put it bluntly, if he had even half of my father's abilities, the Land of Fire would have been unified long ago, ending the chaos. Hashirama stared wide-eyed, completely stunned. After hearing Jojuan's words, he suddenly had the thought, if only my father-in-law were a daimyo. An individual's mediocrity is nothing, but a daimyo's mediocrity is a tragedy for the entire nation. Jojuan continued, instilling his ideas in Hashirama. The daimyo of the Land of Fire is like a general who can't fight. He can only manage a few 100,000 citizens. If you force him to have 500,000, he won't lead the country to prosperity. Instead, he'll make the whole country chaotic and miserable. Therefore, my father's decision to separate Uchiha village and make it independent was actually helping the daimyo and greatly benefiting the Land of Fire. My father-in-law was helping the daimyo. Hashirama was bewildered. This statement should have seemed absurd, but after hearing Jojuan's explanation, he found it surprisingly reasonable and couldn't refute it. That's right, Jojuan stated with absolute certainty. Brother-in-law, just imagine this, after my father split off Uchiha village, not only could the 480,000 people of Uchiha village live and work in peace and contentment, but daiming could also be relieved of pressure and govern the remaining 100,000 people in an orderly manner. This is a win-win situation. Chapter 163 You helped us build a country, we'll help you build a village. Brother-in-law, think about it again. What would have happened if my father hadn't established an independent nation, but instead disbanded Uchiha village and returned the more than 400,000 civilians to the daimyo? Jojuan pressed on. Given the daimyo's abilities, he truly lacks the capacity to lead all the people to prosperity. As the saying goes, the will of the people is paramount. Since the civilians are already living in peace and prosperity under my father's rule, why would they willingly return to their previous impoverished lives? Even if we forced them to leave, they wouldn't want to go. Combining what I've said above, establishing a nation in Uchiha village would greatly benefit all the civilians, except for harming the daimyo's interests. Compared to the people, what are the daimyo's personal interests? Brother-in-law, are you pacifying the chaos for the daimyo, or for the people? Jojuan's final question was a soul-crushing blow, leaving Hashirama completely dumbfounded. Not only Hashirama was dumbfounded, but Mito beside him and the three elders of Uchiha village were also completely stunned, staring at Jojuan in disbelief. They hadn't expected Jojuan to be so eloquent. His arguments sounded like sophistry, stubbornly portraying the division of the Land of Fire as a beneficial thing for the country and its people. While seemingly absurd and flawed, upon closer examination, his logic was clear, well-founded, and utterly unassailable. Will Hashirama agree? Mito pursed her lips, turning to her silent husband, her heart pounding with anxiety. Over the years, Hashirama and Uzumaki Ryu had clashed. Uzumaki Ryu wanted the Senju clan to join Uchiha village, while Hashirama hoped Uchiha village would merge with other ninja clans to form a new village. Neither side accepted the other. Mito was caught in the middle, torn between her father and husband. Taking sides was difficult, so she could only try her best to mediate. Over time, she became exhausted and sincerely longed to see the day when Uzumaki Ryu and Hashirama understood each other. The meeting room remained silent for a long time before finally, Hashirama let out a deep sigh. I was foolish, my view of the problem was too simplistic, I didn't see the bigger picture. Upon hearing this, Mito felt a huge weight lifted from her heart, and a smile appeared on her pretty face. Knowing Hashirama as she did, she knew that since he had spoken like this, he must agree with his brother's words. Jojuan, you're right. The benefits that my father-in-law's decision to make Uchiha village independent for the Land of Fire are indeed far greater than the benefits of merging with the other races, Hashirama said. I shouldn't have tried to dissuade my father-in-law. He's doing the right thing. My thinking before was too naive, I wasn't as far-sighted as my father-in-law. Previously, Hashirama had always believed that Uchiha village's independence would plunge the Land of Fire into unprecedented turmoil and chaos, and others thought so too. He was extremely anxious about this, racking his brains trying to figure out how to persuade Uzumaki Ryu. However, after listening to Jojuan's analysis today, he suddenly realized something. It turned out that the division and independence of Uchiha village would actually bring such enormous benefits to the Land of Fire. Hashirama certainly respected the daimyo, but as Jojuan said, he was doing it for the people to quell the chaos, not for the daimyo. As long as the people's lives improve, the personal reputation and interests of the daimyo are truly insignificant. Brother-in-law, it's best that you've come to your senses, Jojuan smiled with relief. My father shares your stance, he also hopes the common people can live a good life. It's just that you had some misunderstandings about my father before. Now that you've cleared things up, it's all good. I will definitely visit my father-in-law to apologize another day, Hashirama said earnestly. That's not necessary. He's already very happy that you agree with his founding principles. Hashirama felt increasingly ashamed, feeling that his misunderstanding of Uzumaki Dragon was just like the misunderstandings the clan leaders had of him. Previously, the clan leaders thought he was building the village to annex the various ninja clans, while he thought Uzumaki Dragon was building a nation to start a new era of chaos. They didn't understand each other's true intentions at all. Trust is so important between people. Jojuan, unaware of Hashirama's thoughts at this moment, smiled and said, "Actually, my father asked me to lead the clan here this time mainly to make a deal with you, brother-in-law. Now it seems that deal has been made." "What deal?" Hashirama asked curiously. "According to my father's wishes, after you defeat the Uchiha clan, the next step is to unite with the major ninja clans to establish a village. At that time, our Uzumaki village will officially separate from the Land of Fire and begin to establish our own country. My father hopes that on the day Uzumaki village becomes independent, you can represent the Senju clan to support us and reduce unnecessary trouble for us. As a reward, we will send several elders of the Uzumaki clan to personally teach you the experience of establishing a village and help you avoid detours." The three Uzumaki elders beside him showed strange expressions upon hearing this, their eyes flashing. Uzumaki Ryu had indeed given Jojuan a task, but the task was not what Jojuan had described. Uzumaki Ryu knew that Hashirama was straightforward and that persuading him to support the Uzumaki's nation building was extremely difficult. Therefore, his task for Jojuan was simply to persuade Hashirama not to oppose it. Hashirama could not support it, but he absolutely could not oppose it. Currently, almost all the ninja clans in the Land of Fire were led by him. If he openly opposed it, Uzumaki village would be in an extremely unfavorable situation, and the nation-building plan would be impossible to advance. Jojuan has quite the silver tongue. He's already exceeded the task the village chief gave him. We couldn't have done it. Truly remarkable. The three elders secretly admired Jojuan. They could imagine the immense joy the Uzumaki Dragon would feel when news of Hashirama's support for the Uzumaki clan's independence reached Uzumaki village. "If my father-in-law is willing to help us build a village, that would be wonderful," Hashirama blurted out, excited. The Uzumaki clan's experience in village building was absolutely expert level, and Hashirama naturally hoped to receive expert guidance. "Then it's settled. Brother-in-law, you support our nation's establishment, and will help you build the village. It's a mutually beneficial arrangement," Jojuan said with a smile. Yes, Hashirama nodded vigorously. After Jojuan's earlier persuasion, he already supported the Uzumaki clan's independence. The terms Jojuan offered were a pleasant surprise. "Since that's the case, the alliance between our two clans is now settled. Brother-in-law, if you have other matters to attend to, please go ahead and do so. We can catch up properly after the decisive battle." "Okay." Hashirama stood up as he spoke. He did indeed have other matters to attend to. The representatives of each clan were still waiting for him in another conference room. After he left, Mito smiled at Jojuan and said, "When did you become so good at talking? I've tried to persuade your stubborn brother-in-law for years without success, but you managed to convince him as soon as you arrived today." Jojuan waved his hand modestly. "Communication is an art, it requires skill, and I happen to have mastered that skill." "Sister, you don't still think I haven't grown up, do you?" "You've grown up a little bit." Mito happily patted her younger brother's head. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 164 The War Begins. Aside from Hashirama, the rest are all useless. That night, Jojuan and the Uzumaki clan set up camp near the Senju clan's territory to rest. The Senju clan's territory was now teeming with elite forces from various clans, and the existing houses were far from sufficient. Furthermore, as time passed, more and more ninja clans came to aid Hashirama. Clan Chief Hashirama establishing the ninja village was a long-awaited and widely desired event. "I really don't know what gives Madara Uchiha the confidence to oppose him," the ninja clans discussed in the camp, all believing that Hashirama would undoubtedly win this decisive battle because he had the support of so many people. As the saying goes, those who follow the right path receive much help, while those who stray from it receive little. Madara Uchiha, stubborn and unrepentant, is destined to lead the Uchiha clan to destruction. I admit, Madara Uchiha is indeed a ruthless figure, but compared to a peerless hero like Clan Chief Hashirama, he is ultimately inferior and has no chance of winning. Clan Chief Hashirama was so benevolent and noble, advocating that all clans put aside their hatred. Madara Uchiha only needed to lower his head, and Clan Chief Hashirama would have been willing to accept him and his clan, yet he still took the initiative to issue a challenge to Clan Chief Hashirama. It can only be said that those who bring misfortune upon themselves can be forgiven, but those who bring misfortune upon themselves cannot. With the support of the various ninja clans, Hashirama's reputation reached its peak, and everyone trusted him. Madara Uchiha, on the other hand, became an object of contempt. In short, no one spoke well of him. Jojuan, seeing that the situation in the Land of Fire was gradually conforming to the original story under his intervention, was quite satisfied, feeling that everything was under his control. Soon, the day before the decisive battle arrived. The clan chiefs of all the clans personally came to the Senju clan's territory, and even the daimyo sent a civilian army of 1,000 men to bolster Hashirama's morale. Clan chiefs, everyone, if I had a choice, I truly would not want to fight this final battle against Madara, Hashirama said solemnly to the crowd on the night of their departure, his expression more grave than ever before. Madara and I are close friends, we once shared the same ideals. But today, for the Land of Fire to usher in a true era of peace and prosperity, I have no choice but to become his enemy. I only hope that tomorrow's decisive battle against the Uchiha will be the last war for our Land of Fire, so that after the ninja village is established, every family will have enough to eat and wear, and future generations will be forever free from the ravages of war. Support Clan Chief Hashirama, support the establishment of the ninja village, defeat Uchiha Madara. The crowd was filled with fervor, their shouts as passionate as a tsunami. The future Hashirama painted touched the very depths of every ninja's heart. Zongzhen, look how imposing your dad is now, Jojuan asked with a smile to the 1,000 hands Zongzhen in his arms. Despite his small size, he was surprisingly heavy. Zongzhen glanced at his father, the center of attention in the crowd, then at his mother beside him, her face beaming with satisfaction. His voice suddenly dropped as he replied, not imposing at all. War kills people. Grandpa died. Your grandpa risked his life to defend peace for you. Jojuan said. Zongzhen shook his head vigorously. I don't understand. Why do people fight each other? Wouldn't it be better if everyone just farmed peacefully? Jojuan found it amusing. You're too young. Things are complicated. You'll understand when you grow up. When I grow up, I definitely won't be a ninja. I'll farm, Zongzhen declared firmly. Good. Remember to leave a couple more acres of land, and your second uncle will farm with you. What did a child know? Jojuan simply took Zongzhen's words as childish banter and didn't take them seriously. The next day, noon, Kazuma Valley, the battlefield, the two armies faced each other. Calling it a clash of armies would be an understatement for the Uchiha clan, as the disparity in size was overwhelming. Hashirama's side had gathered the elite forces of most of the Land of Fire's ninja clans, totaling tens of thousands, while Madara's side had only a few hundred Uchiha clansmen, scattered and disorganized, like ants blocking a rolling wheel. Hashirama actually called so many people. At that moment, the hearts of the Uchiha clansmen sank to the bottom. Although they had already believed their clan had no chance of winning, seeing the sheer size of the enemy's forces filled them with genuine fear. Even the usually neutral Uzumaki clan has come to help Hashirama. There are too many enemies. Their sheer numbers alone are enough to overwhelm us. Several Uchiha clansmen couldn't help but mutter, turning to look at Madara. They hoped Madara would change his mind at the last moment. They didn't want to fight this certain death battle, nor did they have the courage to. Big brother, even Izuna cried out in worry. He was a proponent of war, but the disadvantages of this war were far greater than he had imagined. Even if his brother could kill the masked swordsman and Hashirama, during their battle, their own clan would likely be completely wiped out. Boom, Madara responded to Izuna's concerns with action. His two eternal Mangekyou Sharingan spun wildly, and a complete Susanoo, tens of feet tall, instantly enveloped his entire body, as if a demon god had descended to earth. He flapped his Susanoo wings, creating a violent hurricane around him, and flew straight into the sky, indifferently looking down at the 10,000-strong army led by Hashirama. Hashirama, you have indeed not disappointed me, Madara spoke coldly, his voice like thunder, shaking the entire land. The hurricane created by his Susanoo wings alone caused an uproar among the allied ninja army. He single-handedly overwhelmed 10,000 people, perfectly embodying the word domineering, Only half a month has passed, and you've already recruited so many ninja clans for your own use, the Kurama clan chief, having gathered his chakra, declared, Uchiha Madara, you have no chance of winning this battle. If you don't want your entire clan to perish, surrender now. Shut up. Do you even have a place to speak here? Madara snapped, interrupting him. The Kurama clan chief's face flushed red and then pale. He had intended to impress the allied ninja forces, but Madara's imposing aura had terrified him with a single shout. Madara arrogantly declared, in my opinion, apart from Hashirama, all of you are trash, mere chickens and dogs. What did you say? That's outrageous. Uchiha Madara, you've gone too far, I'm warning you, don't be so arrogant. The ninja clans erupted in fury, shouting their rebukes. Madara scoffed, what, you disagree? If anyone thinks I'm wrong, feel free to come out and fight me. Whether it's a tag team battle or a pincer attack, I, Uchiha Madara, fear nothing. Upon hearing this, the angry shouts of the ninja clan subsided considerably, many forcibly suppressing their rage. They knew their own limitations, understanding that only Hashirama could truly challenge Madara head-on. Anyone else who dared to fight him would die. Suddenly, I realized my mockery of Madara that day wasn't so bad. Jojuan, disguised as a masked warrior lurking in the distance, thought to himself. Madara's current demeanor was utterly infuriating, like a super arrogant troll, single-handedly attacking tens of thousands, utterly conceited. Chapter 165 Masked Hero, today, I will kill you. Madara, that's enough. Hashirama took a deep breath, stepped out of the crowd, and looked up at Madara, his robes fluttering wildly in the wind whipped up by Susanu's wings. I know what you said just now wasn't what you truly felt. You and I share the same ideal, we also want to end the warring states period. Madara, turn back. Now, our two clans can completely turn hostility into friendship, join forces to build a unified ninja village, and fulfill the promise we made by the river when we were children. As he spoke, Hashirama's tone even carried a hint of pleading. Madara was silent for a moment, then suddenly sneered, naive, foolish. Who takes childhood promises seriously? Hashirama, don't think you know me so well, that's just wishful thinking on your part. Face reality, our final battle today is unavoidable, and only one of us can survive. Madara spoke against his will, he had always remembered the promise they made by the river. If his father, Uchiha Tajima, hadn't died, he would have been more than willing to yield to Hashirama in the face of the clan's annihilation, turning hostility into friendship and leading his people to integrate with Hashirama and establish a village. But reality is reality, there are no what-ifs, his father was dead. With Tajima's death, Madara had no way back. He had to be worthy of his father, worthy of the two eternal eyes in his sockets, and worthy of every Uchiha ancestor killed by the Senju clan. He did indeed want to pacify the chaotic world and establish a ninja village, but that was after the Senju clan's destruction. What Hashirama could do, Madara could do as well, he had unwavering confidence in that. Madara, that's not what you truly mean. Hashirama shook his head, wanting to continue persuading him. He dared not stop, because stopping meant truly facing Madara to the death. What do you want me to do to make you give up the war? If I can do it, I will satisfy you. Looking at Hashirama pleading below, Madara's heart, hard as iron, began to waver, but only for a moment. The image of his father's dying moments flashed through his mind, and killing intent returned to his eyes. Hashirama, I don't want to waste any more words with you, although you've gathered many elite ninja forces today, we both know that the outcome of this war rests on the two of us. No matter how many ninja clans support you, they can't withstand my single strike, therefore, let's consider today's decisive battle as a settlement between the two of us. If you kill me, our Uchiha clan will surrender to your Senju clan. If I kill you, your allied ninja forces will disband. How about that? Hashirama hesitated. Can't we not settle this? No. Madara's tone was firm and resolute. Hashirama's eyes flickered for a long time before he finally replied with difficulty. Alright, brother, don't fall for his trick, Tobirama suddenly shouted. Madara Uchiha is scared. With so many allied forces, we can easily kill him if we all rush in. Yes, Clan Chief Hashirama, you don't need to fight him alone. We can help you. Madara Uchiha is bluffing you. He wants you to give up your greatest advantage and cut off your arm. You mustn't give in to his wishes. The clan chiefs also spoke up, urging Hashirama not to agree. Although their involvement in the battle would inevitably result in heavy casualties, they couldn't afford to be afraid to fight in order to increase their chances of killing Madara. Otherwise, if Hashirama lost the decisive battle with Madara, Madara would definitely wipe out all the ninja clans present, and the casualties would be even more severe. Madara coldly glanced at Tobirama and the clan chiefs, remaining silent. The reason he proposed a one-on-one fight with Hashirama wasn't because he was afraid of being surrounded and killed by Hashirama and the allied ninja forces, he was only thinking of his clansmen. He was confident in killing Hashirama, but during his fierce battle with Hashirama, his brother and clansmen couldn't face the allied ninja forces, so he resorted to this desperate measure. Based on his understanding of Hashirama, he believed that Hashirama would agree to his proposal to minimize casualties on both sides. "Stop talking. Let me settle this battle with Madara alone." Madara hadn't misjudged him. Hashirama indeed agreed. Madara breathed a slight sigh of relief, but Tobirama, Mito, and the other clan leaders instantly tensed. "Brother, don't act rashly. War is not child's play." "Ho ha ho ha. We've seen a good show." Suddenly, a loud laugh rang out. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw a masked man dressed entirely in plain clothes descending from the sky. "Masked hero, the masked hero is here." With the masked hero helping clan leader Hashirama, how can we not win this battle? The moment Jojuan appeared, an uproar erupted within the allied ninja forces. Tobirama, Mito, and the others were no longer worried, believing that Hashirama's safety was completely guaranteed. Half a year ago, the masked swordsman's unparalleled prowess, holding up the planetary devastation with one hand and unleashing the golden wheel reincarnation explosion with the other, single-handedly slaying hundreds of thousands of soldiers outside Yamen Pass, was still vivid in everyone's minds. For many, he meant invincible. Damn it, he really came. Izuna gritted his teeth, clenching his fists tightly. The Uchiha clansmen beside him were equally indignant, the humiliating memories of being utterly crushed by the masked swordsman flooding back like a tidal wave. "Masked brother," Hashirama exclaimed in surprise, thrilled by Jojuan's appearance. "Brother Hashirama, it's been half a year since we last met," Jojuan said with a smile. "Masked brother, thank you for helping me clear up the misunderstandings with the clan leaders recently." Jojuan shook his head. "Now is not the time for thanks. Someone is eager to kill me." He was referring to Madara. Madara stared intently at him, his two eternal Mangekyou Sharingan practically spewing out tangible fury. "Masked hero, today, I will kill you." These words were spat out from between Madara's teeth. He harbored no hatred for Hashirama, his desire to kill Hashirama was merely a helpless choice born of fate. But his hatred for the masked hero was intense. "Brother Hashirama, I overheard your entire conversation with Uchiha Madara. I happen to have a personal grudge to settle with Uchiha Madara. How about you give me this opportunity to settle things privately?" Jojuan said with a smile, speaking freely in front of the perfect Susanoo, 100 times his size. "Give it to you." Hashirama and the others were taken aback. After a moment, they instinctively assumed the masked hero was saying this to help Hashirama. What personal grudge could a reclusive master like him possibly have with Madara? "Masked brother, this is my duel with Madara. Don't risk interfering. Die." Before Hashirama could finish speaking, Madara fiercely drew his Susanoo sword and slashed down at Jojuan with overwhelming force. Chapter 166 Full Power Unleashed, Second World War, Uchiha Madara. Good heavens, no sportsmanship. Resorting to a sneak attack, Jojuan dodged, and a beam of laser light, condensed from a large amount of chakra, shot out from the tip of the Susanoo sword, grazing his clothes and tearing through the sky, severing a distant mountain in half, the powerful shockwave spreading outwards. What a terrifying attack! The clan leaders looked at the mountain split in two, all shocked and pale. Uchiha Madara's single slash had surpassed the power of an S-rank ninjutsu, putting him on a completely different level from them. Soon, everyone withdrew their gaze, no longer focusing too much on the mountain, because at this moment, high in the sky, Uchiha Madara had officially begun a fierce battle with Jojuan. "Masked man, I am not the same as I was 6 months ago, prepare to bear my wrath," Madara roared, wildly swinging the Susanoo sword in his hand, each move an extremely fierce and ruthless attack, each swing unleashing a massive hurricane, sending sand and stones flying from the ground. Jojuan was like a lone boat tossed about in a raging storm, dodging all attacks with his agile movements. The allied ninja forces watched with bated breath, fearing that he might be killed on the spot by Madara if he failed to dodge in time. Sage art, advent of a world of trees, Hashirama gritted his teeth and decisively entered Sage Mode, using wood release to aid Jojuan. Rumble, the earth was torn apart, and countless branches rose from the ground, surging towards Madara. Each branch was like a living python, tightly binding and restricting Susanu's movement. Even if the two of you join forces, what do I have to fear? Madara roared, his hand rising and falling, slicing all the branches binding him into pieces. Brother Hashirama, you don't need to help me. Let me fight him alone, Jojuan said in a deep voice. He wanted to change the fate of Hashirama's untimely death, so he naturally couldn't let him fight Madara again. However, Hashirama didn't agree. Masked brother, let's go together. He clapped his hands together, further expanding the range of the advent of a world of trees. He felt the masked brother was fighting Madara because of him, and naturally didn't want him to face Madara alone. Stop being so wishy-washy. If you still consider me your sworn brother, listen to me and don't help me, Jojuan said firmly, his tone leaving no room for negotiation. Anyone who helps me is disrespecting the masked hero. Hashirama was stunned. Since his sworn brother had put it this way, he really couldn't intervene. He certainly wanted to help the masked brother, but he didn't want to offend him. After thinking for a moment, Hashirama separated his hands, stopping the advent of a world of trees, and decided to observe for a while. If the masked brother showed signs of defeat later, he would risk his life to help. The masked hero is such a good person. Tobirama, amidst the allied shinobi forces, sighed deeply. He's determined to shield his brother from all danger. He knew that Hashirama's excessive use of wood release would deplete his life force, and he believed the masked hero knew this as well, otherwise, he wouldn't have been so resolute in preventing Hashirama from intervening. Mito shared Tobirama's sentiments. At this moment, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude towards the masked hero. The masked hero had helped Hashirama so much, giving his all. Although they were sworn brothers, their bond was no less than that of blood brothers. Masked hero, do you really think you're invincible? Madara roared, slashing the last wave of branches binding him with his sword. He felt humiliated. If the other man wasn't absolutely certain of defeating him, why would he have so forcefully rejected Hashirama? But I am also absolutely certain of defeating you. Do you think I'm as weak as I was 6 months ago? The thought of being utterly defeated by the masked man 6 months ago fueled Madara's rage, his chakra surging. I wouldn't dare say I'm invincible, but defeating you should be more than enough, Jojuan said modestly. Uchiha Madara, you just told Hashirama that you'd lead the Uchiha clan to surrender if I defeated you. I'm confirming that with you again, so you don't go back on your word. I said kill me, Madara roared. The same thing, Jojuan said dismissively. If I can defeat you, I can kill you. Arrogant, Madara flapped his Susanoo wings, transforming into a streak of light as he charged straight at Jojuan's face. Jojuan also wanted to test the power of his complete Susanoo, so he blocked with one hand, silently chanting, Shinra Tensei, boom. A powerful repulsive force surged forth like a tidal wave, sending Madara flying backward as if struck by a mountain, crashing into the ground and creating a massive, shocking crater, billowing dust. Although Jojuan hadn't entered the Sharingan mode, both the Tenseigan and Rinnegan possessed the ability to manipulate gravity and repulsion. The repulsive force generated by releasing the power of both eyes simultaneously was several times stronger than when he only had a single Tenseigan. Are you tickling me? Madara mocked, manipulating his Susanoo to soar into the sky from the pit and continue attacking Jojuan. As expected of the complete Susanoo, its defense is indeed formidable, Jojuan nodded secretly. He had fought against the one-tailed Shukaku and judged that the complete Susanoo's defense was even stronger than that of a tailed beast. Shinra Tensei alone couldn't harm him. In that case, I have to get serious. Jojuan took a deep breath and once again pushed out with one hand. Shinra Tensei, boom. Madara was once again thrown back, crashing down like a mountain, collapsing the dense forest that Hashirama had created with wood release. Taking advantage of this opening, Jojuan's right pupil suddenly dilated, activating the Tenseigan chakra mode. A magnificent sage cloak materialized on his body, making him appear as noble as a god. Sage mode, activate, open gate, injury gate, shock gate, activate. Jojuan used sage mode to assist the 8 gates, opening the first 7 gates in one go. Sweat evaporated from his body, producing a large amount of blue steam, his hair stood on end, and his exposed skin became flushed red. Uchiha Madara, today I will show you just how vast a gap is between you and me, Jojuan said calmly. Except for not having fused his 2 eyes into the Sharingan, He was now going all out. Madara deserved to be treated this way. "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Madara, fearless as a warrior, flapped his Susanoo wings, creating a massive hurricane. His eyes were fixed on Jojuan as he released Amaterasu. After fusing with Tajima's main Gekkai Sharingan, his eyes now possessed Tajima's eye techniques. The moment Jojuan felt the scorching heat, he vanished without hesitation. A ball of black flame ignited in the void behind him before he plummeted to the ground. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, one after another, after images flew and circled around Ban. The clan leaders in the distance were dazzled, only able to hear the whooshing sound of Jojuan's high-speed movement, unable to see him at all. "My speed is so fast that even your eyes can't keep up. Don't embarrass yourself with boring eye techniques like Amaterasu." Chapter 167 Tobirama Senju, "I too will settle things with you." The clan leaders were all deeply moved upon hearing this. Jojuan wasn't exaggerating, his speed was indeed so fast that even the eyes couldn't keep up. Their eyes darted around, but they only saw after images left by Jojuan, unable to pinpoint his location in real time. "The masked man's physical prowess is unparalleled," one clan leader exclaimed in astonishment. Such incredible speed was unheard of and unseen before. Hyuga Tenjin, refusing to believe it, bulged veins on his temples, maximizing the power of his Byakugan, trying to discern Jojuan's movement trajectory, but still failed. Madara, unusually quiet, didn't utter a rebuttal, hovering in the air, ready for battle. His two main Gekkai Sharingan spun like windmills, closely observing the afterimages surrounding him. Suddenly, a flash of light appeared in Madara's main Gekkai Sharingan, and he roared, "I see you." He decisively slashed his sword to the left. As expected of the eternal main Gekkai Sharingan, the 7 gates are ultimately too slow, they can be seen through, Jojuan thought to himself. He had originally planned to attack from the left, but Madara had predicted his route, forcing him to change his strategy. Several truth-seeking balls emerged from his palm, condensing into the shape of the Amino-Mago spear, which clashed head-on with Susanoo. Bang! The explosion was deafening, and the violent wind pressure swept through, making it difficult to open one's eyes. The outcome of this clash was quickly revealed. Susanoo, whose size was as terrifying as a tailed beast, was swept away by the spear, tumbling several times in the air. Jojuan pressed his advantage, quickly catching up with Madara and wielding the Amino-Mago spear, formed from multiple truth-seeking balls, to fiercely strike at Susanoo's head. However, his movement trajectory was all seen by Madara's main Gekkai Sharingan. Madara first deployed the Susanoo wings to stabilize himself, and then swung his sword with all his might to meet the attack. Bang bang bang, in less than a moment, the two had exchanged dozens of blows, each collision unleashing a violent shockwave. They fought their way into the sky, scattering the surrounding clouds. After opening the 7 gates, Jojuan's speed and power were no less than that of the complete Susanoo. Furthermore, the Tenma spear in his hand was more powerful than the Susanoo greatsword. As a result, Madara was constantly being pushed back. Fortunately, the complete Susanoo's defense was formidable, so he was not unharmed for the time being. Izuna watched the battle for a while and saw that his elder brother was slightly at a disadvantage. He couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat for his brother. "My brother is fighting a bloody battle, and I can't just stand by. At worst, after this battle, I'll die with my brother." With this thought, Izuna gritted his teeth and resolutely stepped out from among his clansmen. "Senju Tobirama, do you dare to fight me to the death?" Izuna declared solemnly, releasing his main Gekkai Sharingan power, and a bright red Susanoo enveloped him. The various ninja clans, gazing up at the fierce battle raging in the sky, were all taken aback by Izuna's sudden shout. Tobirama's expression darkened. "My elder brother is settling things with the masked swordsman and Hashirama, and I'll settle things with you too. Tobirama Senju, do you dare accept the challenge?" Izuna continued, his eyes fixed on Tobirama, radiating killing intent. Tobirama glanced at the strange looks from the surrounding ninja clans, pursed his lips, and was about to step forward when Mito stopped him. "Ignore him. There's no need for you to settle things with him." As Madara had said before, the one who truly controlled the outcome of this war was him. If Madara was defeated, the remaining Uchiha clan members would be no threat. Surrender would be their only option. Conversely, if Madara could defeat both the masked swordsman and Hashirama, even if all of them attacked together, they wouldn't be a match for him. "Tobirama Senju, are you afraid of me?" Izuna sneered. "The Senju clan is nothing but trash. Except for Hashirama, The rest are all chickens and dogs, useless. Tobirama took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "Sister-in-law, let me go. The Senju clan cannot be looked down upon. I recently developed a new ninjutsu, and I'll use it to practice." Mito hesitated for a moment, then decided not to stop him and stepped aside. The Senju clan's reputation was indeed very important now, as they had called for the establishment of a village by all the clans, and it could not be damaged. Mito knew Tobirama's strength very well. He and Izuna had clashed countless times on the battlefield, and neither of them had been able to defeat the other. If nothing unexpected happened, they would probably end up in a draw again this time, until Madara and the masked man decided the victor. Seeing that Tobirama had been successfully provoked, Izuna's lips curled up slightly, and then she drew her Totsuka blade with a clang. "Tobirama, you don't know this yet, you should actually thank the masked swordsman. If it weren't for him, I would have taken your dog's life long ago." "What do you mean?" Tobirama frowned, not understanding what Izuna was saying. The one who swore brotherhood with the masked swordsman was his elder brother, while he himself hadn't exchanged a single word with the masked swordsman. "Never mind what I mean. In short, I'm going to settle things with you once and for all. You're definitely going to die today." Izuna didn't bother to explain, and as soon as he finished speaking, he leaped up, wielding the Totsuka sword and slashing down at Tobirama's head. Arrogant, Tobirama was enraged. Izuna had always wanted to kill him, and he wanted to kill Izuna just as much. Let's see who can finish whom off today. Earth release, earth flow wall. Tobirama slammed his palm heavily into the ground, and an earthen wall rose up, blocking the sharpness of the Totsuka sword. "Uchiha Madara, is this all you've got?" High in the sky, Jojuan launched a fierce attack while mocking Madara. Madara had lost his initial domineering and unrestrained demeanor, and was now completely suppressed and forced into defensive posture. His Susanoo greatsword and Eminonuma spear had clashed repeatedly, leaving their surfaces riddled with cracks. "You dare to boast about killing me and Hashirama? How, you overestimate yourself." Madara gritted his teeth. The opponent's mocking words felt like steel needles piercing his ears, driving him to the brink of madness. But he was helpless. His opponent's taijutsu was inexplicably powerful, its explosive force surpassing even a perfect Susanoo, and the spear in his hand was strange. Even Susanoo's defense couldn't completely stop it. "What, speechless after my beating? Think of your arrogant face just now, don't you feel embarrassed?" Jojuan continued his verbal assault. Madara, enraged and unable to bear it any longer, unleashed a furious blow. Bang! After another violent collision, the cracked Susanoo sword in Madara's hand finally succumbed to the pressure, shattering into countless chakra fragments. Madara was also swept away and sent flying. Daytime Tiger, Heavenly Swamp Spear. Jojuan gripped the spear tightly, gathering his strength, compressing the air to the spear tip, and then hurled it with tremendous force. Buzz! The moment the spear left his hand, it erupted with a piercing buzz. A large amount of compressed air condensed on the surface of the spear into the shape of a fierce tiger, carrying unparalleled power as it struck the Susanoo's chest. Boom! The deafening roar shook the heavens and the earth. Chapter 168, Hands clasped together, the power in the next second was unparalleled. Madara transformed into a meteorite, plummeting straight down and creating a crater several kilometers wide. Dust and smoke billowed everywhere, and a terrifying shockwave swept across the land, tearing away layers of earth. Hiss! What kind of technique was that, so powerful? The tens of thousands of ninja allied soldiers were shocked. Caught in the shockwave, they were all thrown about, unable to stand, and stumbled and fell in disarray. As the masked man and Madara decided their battle, the crowd looked in disbelief towards the spot where Madara had fallen, where the dust obscured everything. They should have decided by now. After all, the power of that attack was terrifying. The masked man is undoubtedly a peerless powerhouse. Izuna and Tobirama were unaffected by the distant battlefield. They were fighting desperately, each determined to end the other's life. Ninja art, multiple shadow clone technique. Tobirama swiftly formed hand seals, conjuring dozens of shadow clones, each wielding a kunai, launching a 360-degree, all-encompassing attack on Izuna. Water release, water-severing wave. Even a complete Susanoo wouldn't withstand a direct hit from an advanced version of Daytime Tiger, Jojuan thought to himself, believing Madara was completely defeated. Just as he was about to go down and check on Madara's condition, suddenly, Masked Hero. Is that all you've got? A wild roar resounded. Madara flapped his Susanoo wings, dispersing all the dust and soaring into the sky. He's still not down, Jojuan raised an eyebrow in surprise. The complete Susanu's resilience was somewhat beyond his expectations. Then he looked closely and realized that it was almost over. Several arm-thick cracks appeared on the surface of Madara's Susanu, clearly on the verge of collapse. A couple more powerful blows would definitely break him. Masked hero, show me what else you've got. I'll kill you right here today, Madara roared, his chakra coursing as he reformed a Susanu sword. Jojuan nearly laughed in exasperation, thinking, as expected of Madara, still so stubborn even after being beaten to pulp. If only my manhood were half as tough as yours. Fine, as you wish. Don't blame me if you die. Jojuan took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and then opened them again, his Tenseigan and Rinnegan both shrouded in a chilling aura. Sage art, planetary devastation. He clasped his hands together, unleashing unparalleled power in the next instant. Boom, the earth and sky within a radius of several kilometers instantly collapsed and shattered. Countless fragments of grass, trees, and rocks were sucked up and shot into the sky, gathering around Madara as the center of gravity. Get out of my way, Madara roared, swinging the Susanu sword to shatter all the gathered rocks into fragments. However, under the influence of gravity, each of his slashing movements became extremely difficult, requiring hundreds of times the usual strength. After unleashing more than 10 sword strikes in succession, Madara realized that he would eventually be exhausted and die. So he frantically flapped his Susanu wings, attempting to break free from the gravitational pull. However, the suction force generated by the release of the power of his Rinnegan and Tenseigan, coupled with being in Sage mode, made this Chibaku Tensei dozens of times more powerful than the one he used at Yanmen Pass. Even if Madara broke off both of his Susanu wings, he could not break free. Bang! A boulder weighing hundreds of tons slammed into Susanu's abdomen, and the two became tightly stuck together as if attracted by magnets. Bang! Another boulder hit Susanu's back, and once it was stuck, it couldn't be shaken off. Bang! This time, the boulder hit Susanu's head. Bang! 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 Boulders crashed down relentlessly, and in no time, Madara was buried alive, leaving only a giant sphere of earth suspended in midair, no longer a trace of Susanu. That move again, the ninjas from various clans watching from afar were no longer calm, exclaiming in shock. They were familiar with Chibaku Tensei. Back outside Yanmen Pass, Jojuan had used this move to create meteorites on the spot, intimidating the armies of the four nations and leaving an indelible impression on everyone. Now, seeing Jojuan use Chibaku Tensei again, it was as if they had returned to the battlefield of Yanmen Pass, feeling their blood rush to their heads, their whole bodies filled with uncontrollable excitement. Look! Madara Uchiha is struggling and unable to move. He's been buried alive in the giant earthen sphere. This is simply divine power. How can Madara Uchiha possibly contend with the masked man? With this move, Madara Uchiha has no chance of turning the tide. He's definitely going to die inside the earthen sphere. Izuna also noticed the commotion from the distant Chibaku Tensei. The excited chatter of the various clans ninjas disturbed his peace of mind, but he forced himself to remain calm and concentrate all his energy on dealing with Tobirama. If my brother dies at the hands of the masked man, I will surely follow him, but before I die, I'll take Tobirama Senju down with me. Izuna unleashed a fierce power, wildly swinging his Totsuka blade, slicing all the Tobirama clones that got close into pieces, and using the Yata mirror to deflect the ranged ninjutsu used by the remaining Tobirama clones. Tobirama Senju, my Yata mirror can deflect all ninjutsu attacks. No matter how many ninjutsu you've developed, what can you do to me? Izuna roared, desperately wanting to find an opportunity to deliver a fatal blow. At that moment, a Tobirama clone emerged from the ground using the Iwagakure technique, striking Izuna in the back with a palm strike. Izuna countered with a sword strike, blasting the clone to pieces. However, the Tobirama clone also struck Izuna's back, attaching an explosive tag to it. Seeing this, the real Tobirama in the distance immediately showed delight, rapidly forming hand seals and uttering mutual explosive tags technique. Explode, bang 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 bang, an endless chain of explosions erupted, engulfing Izuna and his Susanoo in flames. Is the masked man going to kill Madara? Hoshirama looked at the Chibaku Tensei burying Madara with unbearable sorrow. Although he had prepared himself for a life-or-death battle with Madara before the war began, seeing Madara in mortal danger still filled him with reluctance. But he was powerless. Madara insisted on standing against everyone, and he couldn't even plead for Madara's life. Madara, if there is an afterlife, I hope we can be true friends in our next life. Bang! 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 A series of violent explosions interrupted Hashirama's sorrowful mood. He turned his head to look, only to see endless flames and smoke billowing into the sky. What happened over there? Could it be that the allied shinobi forces and the Uchiha clan are fighting? Hashirama was filled with surprise and doubt. He had been focused on Madara and Jojuan's battle and didn't know that Tobirama and Izuna had also finished things off behind the scenes. Just as Hashirama was about to head to the explosion site to check the situation, another change occurred. Shatter! A desperate roar exploded in the air, like the dying scream of a tailed beast. Everyone looked up. The massive Chibaku Tensei, Earth Explosion Star, instantly burst into flames, transforming into a fireball. Chapter 169 The Desperate Spot. What? Uchiha Madara hasn't given up yet. He's launching a desperate counterattack. The ninjas from various clans were shocked. In the blink of an eye, Chibaku Tensei transformed into a sun burning with black flames, creating a tremendous visual impact. They couldn't even be bothered with the battles on Tobirama and Izuna's side. Their gazes were immediately drawn to Jojuan's battlefield. Good heavens, it seems Madara isn't just stubborn in words, he's incredibly tough. Even Jojuan was astonished by Madara's counterattack, let alone the ninjas from other clans. Using Amaterasu to ignite the entire Chibaku Tensei, how much ocular power would that require? Luckily, Madara only activated the Eternal Mangekyou Sharingan. If he had awakened the Rinnegan, he might have truly threatened me. Only by entering Rinnegan mode can I suppress him. After these two remarks, Chibaku Tensei shattered into countless fragments with a loud boom. Madara, having exhausted his last ounce of strength to escape the planetary devastation, could no longer even maintain his Susanoo, plummeting headfirst to the ground. Jojuan, still wanting to preserve Madara for the fusion of his second Rinnegan and unwilling to let him die, swooped down without hesitation, grabbing Madara by the collar just before he hit the ground. Masked hero, you're going to kill me, aren't you? Madara said coldly, his face filled with utter despair. Destroy it all, I'm tired. He was originally an incredibly proud man, but in this battle, he was truly humbled by Jojuan. The gap between them was far greater than he had imagined. Why would I kill you? Jojuan asked him curiously. Madara glanced at him coldly, opened his mouth, but then, too lazy to waste any more words. Jojuan found Madara's behavior rather amusing and flew towards the Four Nations alliance with him in his arms. Masked hero, thank you, Masked hero, for defeating Uchiha Madara and eliminating a major threat to our land of fire. Masked hero's invincible prowess today is no less than that of the Battle of Yamen Pass. Seeing Jojuan's triumphant return, the ninjas from various clans swarmed around him, showering him with congratulations and praise. Meanwhile, Tobirama and Izuna, who had also finished their battle and were both severely injured, were completely ignored by the crowd. Your older brother has lost? Tobirama gasped, a mocking smile playing on his lips. He was in terrible shape. His fierce battle with Izuna had exhausted his chakra, using a barrage of ninjutsu, and the final mutually multiplying explosive tags technique had also injured him. Of course, Izuna was in equally dire condition. His Susanoo had been shattered by the mutually multiplying explosive tags, and he was covered in blood, severely wounded. Big brother, Izuna wept bitterly, not because of his own severe injuries, but because of Madara's defeat. Masked big brother, although Madara is defeated by you, please don't humiliate him, okay? In the allied shinobi forces, Hashirama hesitantly pleaded with Jojuan. He mistakenly believed that Jojuan had captured Madara alive to prevent his easy death and to publicly humiliate him in front of all the shinobi clans. Who said I wanted to humiliate him? Jojuan chuckled, patting Hashirama's shoulder. I want him to keep his promise. With that, he carried the lifeless Madara like a chick towards the Uchiha clan. The shinobi from various clans, unsure of Jojuan's intentions, exchanged bewildered glances before following him. Clan chief, the Uchiha clan members were filled with unease, their hearts heavy with mixed emotions as they looked at their captured leader. They had tried to dissuade Madara from the start, but he insisted. Once the decisive battle truly began, their clansmen, weak and few in number, were nothing more than cannon fodder, utterly useless. Uchiha Madara, your life is mine now. Quickly fulfill your promise and make your clansmen surrender, Jojuan urged. The ninjas from various clans immediately understood his intention. They realized he was sparing Madara's life to use him to subjugate the Uchiha clan. Madara remained silent, turning his head away, unwilling to let his clansmen see his most vulnerable side. Kill me. Kill me, and they will naturally listen to you. Madara certainly didn't want his clansmen to be wiped out. He believed that after his death, Hashirama would properly care for his clansmen, and even if the masked warrior wanted to harm the Uchiha clan, Hashirama wouldn't allow it. What if I kill you? What if your clansmen hold a grudge against me? Would I have made enemies for no reason? Jojuan said discontentedly. I want you to set an example and personally lead your clansmen to surrender. Madara sneered. If you want me to surrender, you'll have to kill me. Masked hero, our Uchiha clan is willing to surrender. Please spare our clan leader's life. The Uchiha elder couldn't hold back any longer, fearing that Jojuan would really kill Madara, and hurriedly pleaded for him. Yes, masked hero, our Uchiha clan has already been defeated. All the clansmen sincerely surrender. We only hope that you will spare our clan leader. As long as you spare our clan leader, I guarantee that we will never hold a grudge against you, but will only be grateful to you. At this moment, from the elders to the clansmen, the Uchiha clansmen successively pleaded for Madara. Although Madara's actions were always autocratic, the clansmen loved and respected him from the bottom of their hearts and never wanted to see him die. Behind them, the clan leaders frowned upon seeing this. Ordinary Uchiha clansmen posed no threat to them, and surrendering wouldn't be a problem. But Madara Uchiha was different. He was a ticking time bomb, threatening to explode at any moment. And once he exploded, only the masked man and Hashirama could confront him. Keeping him alive would do more harm than good. The best course of action was, of course, to eliminate him. Hashirama's heart pounded wildly, a glimmer of hope appearing in his eyes. He hesitated, wanting to say a few words in Madara's defense. Shut up. I don't need you to speak for us. It's all about the victors and the vanquished, Madara said coldly, having already disregarded his own life. He had already decided on his fate before the final battle. Either he would kill the masked man and Hashirama, forcefully leading the various clans of the Land of Fire to establish a ninja village, or he would be killed, and his clansmen would surrender to the Senju clan, with Hashirama leading the establishment of a ninja village. There would be no third outcome. I also want to spare your clan leader, but he is determined to die and won't let himself go, Jojuan said leisurely. Then, his tone shifted, unless you can persuade him to surrender willingly. I cannot let such a great threat live. The Uchiha clan members were initially stunned, but immediately overjoyed. It seemed the other side genuinely intended to spare their clan leader. Alright, we will persuade him. The Uchiha elder looked urgently at Madara. Clan leader, we have utterly failed. Continuing to resist will only result in meaningless sacrifices. We implore you to lead the clan onto a new path. Chapter 170 Madara is redeemed, but then he turns evil again. For the sake of the clan chief, please bow your head to the masked hero and Hashirama. Only by living is there hope. Death means nothing. We cannot live without your leadership, the Uchiha clan members pleaded, urging Madara to surrender with them, their words filled with heartfelt sincerity. Hearing their desperate pleas, Madara's resolve wavered. Resolving their hatred with Hashirama, pacifying the chaotic world, jointly building the ninja village, fulfilling his childhood dream, everything seemed perfect. But when he recalled the image of his father's dying moments, Madara forced himself to harden his heart, closed his eyes, and sighed. There's no need to say anything more. Surrender if you want, but my mind is made up. I would rather die than surrender, but without your leadership, what will become of us? The old clan leader passed a position to you, hoping you would lead the clan to prosperity. Yet today you abandon your people. How can you face the old clan leader's expectations? We beg you, clan leader, to reconsider. The Uchiha clan cannot live without you. The Uchiha elder, in his haste, knelt before Madara, tears streaming down his face. Without a clan leader, what's the point of us clan members surviving? We beg you, clan leader, to reconsider. The kneeling of the Uchiha elder triggered a chain reaction. All the Uchiha clan members knelt, pleading with Madara through tears. The ninjas from all the other clans, witnessing the scene, were deeply moved, believing the Uchiha clan to be people of profound loyalty and affection. Madara's lips moved, intending to ask his clan to elect a new clan leader, but the words wouldn't come out, and his eyes reddened. I refuse to believe I can't persuade you. Jojuan noticed Madara's trembling and was about to give him a push when suddenly, something unexpected happened. Thump. Hashirama knelt down alongside the Uchiha clan members, tears glistening in his eyes. Madara, a peaceful and prosperous world is before us. Don't you want to see what it looks like? Please help me, I need your help. Looking at the tearful Hashirama before him, Madara's mind exploded. The next moment, He recalled every moment with Hashirama. They met as children by the river, too shy to reveal their surnames, and competed in skipping stones. They honed their skills, shared their ideals, and promised to build a village together someday. Later, their identities were exposed, and the leaders of both clans intervened, setting them on a path of love and hate from which there was no return. "All right," Madara said, his voice trembling, two streams of tears welling up in his eyes. "I'll help you." The Uchiha Madara who harbored hatred had already been killed by the masked man. Before, he lived for his clan and his father. This time, he would live for himself, regain his original heart, no longer harbor hostility towards anyone, and open his eyes wide to see what the prosperous world he longed for truly looked like. "That's wonderful." Upon hearing Madara's agreement, the Uchiha clan and Hashirama were overjoyed. Even Joshwan smiled, feeling that all the effort he had put into Madara had finally been worthwhile, as he had finally cleared his name. The ninjas of the various clans, however, wore different expressions, wary of Madara, and did not believe that he was sincerely repentant. "It would have been better if you had come to your senses sooner," Joshwan chuckled, releasing Madara. "No one likes war. Cherish this hard-won peace." Madara looked at him with a complicated expression, completely baffled by the masked man. It seemed the man had never intended to kill him from the start, otherwise, he could have done it 6 months ago. "Clan chief, how are your injuries? Medical ninja, come quickly." The Uchiha clan members gathered around Madara, showering him with concern and asking about his injuries. Madara let out a deep breath. From the moment he decided to let go of his hatred, he felt a strange transformation, his mind lighter and clearer than ever before. "I'm fine." "Where's Izuna, Lord Izuna?" "Up." The Uchiha clan members were taken aback. "He just went to fight Tobirama Senju." A senior Uchiha clan member slapped his forehead, suddenly realizing. At this point, everyone finally remembered the two people on the other side who were also engaged in a decisive battle. It wasn't that they were carefree. The battle between Joshwan and Madara had been far too intense, causing the heavens and earth to tremble and altering the landscape, ultimately determining the course of the war. Compared to them, the duel between Izuna and Tobirama seemed like a children's fight, attracting little attention. "What?" Madara's heart sank, a sudden sense of foreboding rising within him. At that moment, a loud shout drifted from afar, faintly reaching everyone's ears. "Ninja art, reverse sexy jutsu!" Everyone froze, turning to look in the direction of the voice. 1,000 meters away, amidst the ruins, a dozen naked Minato Namoke's figures were striking poses and flirting with Izuna, their genitals obscured by smoke. Everyone was stunned, dumbfounded, and shocked. What the hell was this ninjutsu? The next second, one of the Minatos vanished, reappearing behind Izuna. A spray of blood spurted from Izuna's neck, his eyes widened in disbelief as he collapsed. Holy crap, Joshwan was completely dumbfounded. At that moment, only 3 things popped into his head. Tobirama was going to die. His sexy jutsu was going to become famous. Madara was going to turn evil again. Rewind 2 minutes. On the battlefield, ignored by everyone else, Tobirama and Izuna faced each other, panting heavily, both at their limit. Uchiha Madara has already lost. Your Uchiha clan has no choice but to surrender, Tobirama said, panting, with the air of a victor. Izuna, his face filled with grief, glared fiercely at Tobirama. "Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me." As soon as he finished speaking, his Mangekyou Sharingan in his left eye shrank to the size of a pinhead, releasing the Amaterasu eye technique that had been sealed inside. A line of bloody tears flowed down. Tobirama sensed something was wrong and immediately used the substitution jutsu. PFFT, a rotten wooden stake was burned by black flames, shielding Tobirama from death. "Let's see how you dodge the next move." Izuna clutched his bleeding left eye, preparing to activate the eye technique he had sealed in his right. Before the final battle, to ensure he could kill Tobirama, Izuna had sealed eye techniques in both of his Mangekyou Sharingan, waiting for the final showdown with Tobirama. However, at that moment, Tobirama also made his response, throwing a kunai at Izuna. Izuna ignored the kunai, determined to die alongside Tobirama, his left pupil suddenly contracting. "Ninja art, reverse sexy jutsu," Tobirama roared. PFFT 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 PFFT. A dozen naked Minato Namoke's figures appeared before him, striking poses and throwing seductive glances. Then Izuna froze, his eye technique, only half activated, abruptly halted. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, It means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 171 Madara turned evil, then Madara redeemed himself. Izuna wasn't bewitched by the sexy jutsu. The reason he was so stunned that he even interrupted his half-activated eye technique was because he thought of someone. Someone as important in his life as his father and older brother, Uchiha Tano. He vividly remembered how Tano-senpai had fallen victim to this despicable ninjutsu when he disrupted Hashirame's wedding. Time had passed swiftly, the despicable ninjutsu still existed, but she was no longer there. Tano-senpai, Izuna murmured, momentarily lost in thought. But that moment was enough. In a battle between strong individuals, life and death are often decided in an instant. Flying Thunder God / Tobirama silently recited the command, disappearing from the spot. When he reappeared, the kunai he had thrown earlier was already in his hand. He cleanly sliced Izuna's neck, blood spurting out, and the two brushed past each other. Izuna clutched his bleeding neck, his face filled with disbelief, and collapsed. Izuna, Madara roared, rushing towards Izuna without regard for anything else. This, Hashirama and the others panicked. Madara had just agreed to surrender, and then his brother was killed by Tobirama. No one had expected this. Coming to their senses, they rushed towards Tobirama. Izuna, you'll be alright. I'll call the medical ninjas to save you. Madara hugged Izuna tightly, tears streaming down his face, shouting for the medical ninjas. However, Izuna had suffered a fatal wound. Tago, Izuna's throat was filled with blood, his voice muffled. After uttering 2 syllables, the last light in his eyes faded, and he breathed his last. Why, Izuna, why? Madara cried out, experiencing heart-wrenching pain once again, following Tajima's death. Hashirama and the other ninjas stood silently by, unsure what to say. Tobirama, the instigator, was completely bewildered, not knowing what had happened. Hadn't Madara been defeated by the masked man? Why hadn't he been killed yet? He didn't know that Madara had just agreed to lead his clan in surrender. Tobirama Senju, you really are a scoundrel, Jojuan sighed. Everything had been going smoothly, according to his plan, but Tobirama had thrown a curveball. What happened? Tobirama asked, confused, not understanding the masked man's meaning. Before Jojuan could speak again, Madara turned and glared at Tobirama with hatred, saying, Hashirama, you'd better kill me today, or I will definitely kill Tobirama in the future. Hashirama felt extremely bitter, even more distressed than Jojuan, and explained, Tobirama doesn't know that our two clans have reconciled. Just now, either he killed Izuna, or Izuna killed him. I don't care, Madara interrupted, blinded by rage. If I don't die today, I will surely kill Tobirama one day. Madara, why are you doing this? You just agreed to build a village with us. Hashirama continued to persuade him. I'm willing to apologize to you on Tobirama's behalf. I only hope you forgive him. Forgive? Madara laughed bitterly. As long as you kill Tobirama, or you commit suicide in front of me, I will forgive Tobirama. These words immediately caused an uproar in the crowd. Uchiha Madara, don't go too far, the Kurama clan chief couldn't help but say. Even your life was forgiven by the masked hero and clan chief Hashirama. What right do you have to demand anything from clan chief Hashirama? That's right. It was Izuna who took the initiative to challenge Tobirama to a life or death battle. Your clansmen know that he died in battle and has no one to blame but himself. Uchiha Madara, calm down. The clan chiefs all spoke up, without exception, all speaking up for Hashirama and Tobirama. Tobirama, being a clever man, understood what had just happened after observing the situation, but he remained silent. He knew that in this predicament, the more he spoke, the more mistakes he would make. The best course of action was to remain silent and leave everything to his elder brother. Madara, I can't kill Tobirama. Hashirama shook his head. How? Madara sneered. See, even you have things you can't do. Why should I forgive Tobirama? I can't do that either. Hashirama took a deep breath and slowly said, but I can die in Tobirama's place. You want me to commit suicide? Fine, I can. Everyone was stunned, unsure whether he was telling the truth or not. It was probably a lie. After all, Hashirama's prestige was at its peak, and all the major ninja clans revered him. It seemed impossible for him to risk his life for something like this. Only Jojuan's expression shifted unpredictably, completely believing Hashirama's words about suicide. After all, In the original story, Hashirama had committed suicide once before. Then die now, Madara said viciously, his only thought now being revenge for his brother. Hashirama nodded. Madara, after my death, this matter will end here. You must lead the various clans to rebuild the village and realize our shared dream. Unbeknownst to everyone, Hashirama's thoughts were actually quite simple. He felt he had truly wronged Madara. Madara, after a fierce internal struggle, had finally decided to put aside his hatred and build a village with him, only to have his brother killed in the blink of an eye. Putting himself in Madara's shoes, he would find it equally unbearable. But this was no one Tobirama could be blamed for either. Since Tobirama couldn't be blamed, only he could make amends for the harm Madara had suffered. Hearing Hashirama's words, which sounded like a deathbed entrustment, Madara's rage-fueled mind calmed slightly. Knowing Hashirama as he did, he knew Hashirama wasn't one to speak without reason. He might actually do what he said. But suicide was no trivial matter. Would he really go that far for him? Just then, in a flash, Hashirama swiftly drew a kunai from his waist and, without hesitation, plunged it into his own neck. Big brother, clan head Hashirama. Hashirama's attack was so sudden that Tobirama, Mito, and the others didn't have time to stop him, and cries of alarm rang out instantly. Jojuan was the calmest of them all. He even felt a little amused. Of course, he could have stopped Hashirama with his strength, but he didn't. Perhaps even Hashirama himself didn't know that his self-healing ability was abnormally strong. Could a mere kunai really inflict a fatal wound on him? Don't be ridiculous, it only scares those who don't know the inside story. Don't you see Hashirama's granddaughter, Tsunade? Even after being pierced through the stomach by Madara's Susanoo, and even cut in half at the waist, she was still alive and kicking afterward. And Hashirama's vitality was even stronger than Tsunade's. PFFT, as the kunai fell, a spray of blood splattered out. Madara, you? Hashirama stared in astonishment at his best friend. Just as he was about to pierce his own neck with the kunai, Madara reached out and grabbed the kunai, and drops of blood dripped from his palm. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing this. It's really developing according to the original plot. Could this be the world's corrective force? Jojuan thought to himself. He hadn't interfered with Azuna's death or Madara's attempt to stop Hashirama from committing suicide, yet everything happened so naturally that he began to doubt whether the world's corrective force really existed. Chapter 172 The Mystery of Azuna's Fate. Jojuan could guess what would happen next without even seeing it. For your sake, I can spare Tobirama, Madara said in a deep voice, forcefully snatching the kunai from Hashirama's hand, but cutting his own hand raw in the process. Hashirama's willingness to commit suicide for him had deeply moved him, to the point that he was willing to forego his brother's murder. But I will never forgive him, not in this lifetime. With that, Madara bent down, picked up Azuna's body, and walked away into the distance under the watchful eyes of everyone present. Finally, everyone's happy again. Jojuan silently sighed. He was certain that Madara had truly redeemed himself this time and would never turn evil again. After all, Black Zetsu was obediently staying inside him. Even if the world's corrective power did exist, could it possibly correct a Black Zetsu? Big brother, you were too reckless just now. You couldn't have really committed suicide, Tobirama complained. Mito, standing to the side, was so angry she was practically grinding her teeth to powder. If it weren't for the inappropriate occasion, she would have definitely given Hashirama a thorough dressing down. Hashirama shook his head. This time, we really wronged Madara and should compensate him. I didn't do anything wrong. It was Izuna who challenged me to a duel. Who can I blame if he's inferior in skill? Tobirama retorted righteously. Upon hearing this, the ninjas from various clans recalled a dozen or so naked men they had just seen, and their expressions turned strange. They thought Tobirama was truly a genius. You are not wrong, but Madara has lost his brother forever. The pain of losing a loved one can never be compensated for, Hashirama sighed. He had also lost two brothers, so he understood the pain Madara was currently enduring. Clan leaders, Madara has just lost his only family member. Let's give him 2 days to recover, and then discuss the specifics of building the village the day after tomorrow. Okay, Madara asked the crowd for their permission. No problem, building the village is a major event, it can't be rushed, the clan leaders all agreed. Many clan leaders actually believed Madara was a menace and shouldn't have been involved in building the village. However, after seeing Hashirama willingly commit suicide for Madara, they understood his stance and refrained from expressing dissenting opinions. Masked brother, We are so grateful for your help today. Otherwise, who knows what the situation would have been like." Hoshirama then sincerely thanked Jojuan. In his opinion, the current situation was the best it could be. "Thanks to you are too formal." Jojuan waved his hand. "Brother Hoshirama's establishment of the ninja village is crucial to the Land of Fire century-long cause. I am but a lone wolf, and this is all I can do. Since the battle is over today, I won't stay any longer. I will come to find you again for a drink after Brother Hoshirama has built the ninja village," Jojuan said, preparing to take his leave. "Masked brother, you always come and go in such a hurry. Could you stay a couple of days in the Senju clan's territory so I could properly entertain you?" Hoshirama said with a wry smile. After several encounters, he had figured out his sworn brother's style of doing things. He would only show up when he was in trouble, and once the trouble was resolved, he would leave immediately, giving him no chance to express his gratitude. "Ha ha ha, I'm used to wandering. I don't stay in one place for long." Jojuan laughed freely, not giving Hoshirama a chance to stop him, and leap into the sky. Just like Ultraman after defeating a monster, his figure disappeared into the horizon in an instant, vanishing without a trace. Since the village construction matters were to be discussed the day after tomorrow, there was no need to stay in the Senju clan's territory for the next 2 days, so the various clans dispersed that night and returned to their own territories. Hoshirama originally wanted to hold a victory banquet to thank the various clans for their assistance, but unfortunately, there were too many people from each clan, totaling tens of thousands. With the resources of his Senju clan, he could not possibly support such a large-scale victory banquet, so he could only keep it to himself. That night, Jojuan also led his clansmen back to Uzumaki village to report to his father. However, he returned as a shadow clone, while his real body slipped into the Uchiha clan's territory under the cover of night. He set his sights on Izuna's eyes. After all, death is the end, and these were two main Gekkyou Sharingan eyes. Letting them rot in the ground would be a waste. Although I already have one Rinnegan on my left and one Tenseigan on my right, I don't have enough eye sockets to hold more eyes, but it's good to keep them for when I need them, Jojuan thought to himself. In fact, ever since he disguised himself as Black Zetsu and was first struck by Izuna's curse-killing eye technique, he had harbored thoughts about Izuna's eyes. He never imagined that 5 or 6 years would pass before he actually put his plan into action. He didn't intend to create an arm covered in eyes like Danzo, because he felt that would make him look like a monster, deviating from the realm of normal humanity and heading in the Cthulhu direction. When Jojuan infiltrated the Uchiha clan's territory, it was past midnight, and all was quiet. Presumably because they had already decided to assimilate with the other ninja clans and felt they had no enemies, the Uchiha clan hadn't even assigned anyone to night watch. Jojuan clearly saw with his Tenseigan that all the Uchiha clan members, regardless of age or gender, were soundly asleep in their houses. Only one person was an exception. Uchiha Madara sat on the grass, the desolate moonlight falling on him, gazing into the distance alone, lost in thought. The dead cannot be brought back to life. Please accept my condolences, Jojuan silently comforted Madara. Izuna had just died during the day, he would surely have a sleepless night. In the Land of Fire, there was no concept of keeping vigil, burial was the proper way to ensure a peaceful death. He then concealed his presence and crept underground into the Uchiha ancestral land. This wasn't Jojuan's first time at the Uchiha ancestral land. He had been there a few years ago, when he had stolen the forbidden scrolls of Izanagi and Izanami. Looking around, rows upon rows of graves stood neatly piled up, numbering in the hundreds, all belonging to Uchiha clan members who had died in the war. Jojuan quickly noticed a newly built grave, the tombstone clearly bearing Izuna's name. Without hesitation, he moved forward and gently opened the coffin lid. Where's he? Jojuan froze. The coffin was empty, there was no trace of Izuna's body. He frowned in surprise. The tombstone did indeed bear Izuna's name, so why was the coffin empty? He activated his reincarnation eyes power to see through the surroundings. He saw that all the other graves contained skeletons, even Chajima's grave, but Izuna's coffin was empty. What went wrong? Could it be that Izuna didn't die? A bold guess arose in Jojuan's mind. In any case, until he saw Izuna's body, anything was possible. This is different from the original story. In the original, Izuna was definitely dead after being killed by Tobirama, without any suspense. Chapter 173 The Land of Whirlpools Independence Shocks the Ninja World. Jojuan pondered for a long time before the empty coffin, but couldn't come up with a solution. Finally, he closed the coffin lid and left the Uchiha ancestral land. He saw Madara still sitting alone on the grass, his grief and desolation genuine. Did Madara know Izuna's body wasn't in the coffin, or was Madara worried about Izuna's main Gekkai Sharingan and secretly buried him elsewhere? Jojuan had initially considered going out to test Madara's intentions, but then changed his mind. Forget it. What if I'm wrong and Madara thinks I stole Izuna's body? That would be bad. I wouldn't get anything and would only get myself into trouble. It's just Izuna. Whether he's dead or alive, he can't threaten me. With that thought, Jojuan stopped thinking and quietly slipped away underground, just as quietly as he had come, without alerting anyone. 2 days later, Jojuan returned to the Senju clan's territory. Hashirama had done a great job persuading him last time, and Uzumaki Ryu was very satisfied upon learning of it. Therefore, he was appointed again as the representative of the Uzumaki clan to participate in the discussions among the various clans regarding the establishment of the village. Even the daimyo attended the meeting, and he wholeheartedly supported Hashirama's establishment of the ninja village. After all, the more stable the Land of Fire was, the more secure his position as daimyo would be. At the meeting, the daimyo stated that he would provide the entire nation's resources to support the establishment of the ninja village. He would provide money if Hashirama needed it, food if he needed it, and manpower if he needed it. In short, Hashirama could go all out and there was no need to worry about resources. With the daimyo's promise, the clan leaders felt reassured and bowed to him in gratitude. In peacetime, even a penny could stump a hero, let alone in the chaotic warring states period. The initial stage of village establishment indeed required a large amount of money, food, and supplies. Even the establishment of Uzumaki village relied on the daimyo's assistance. The daimyo was undoubtedly the most solid backing for the ninja clans. Afterwards, Hashirama discussed with everyone the location and name of the ninja village. At this point, the world's corrective force began to take effect, and everything unfolded just as in the original story. Hashirama named the ninja village he wanted to establish Konoha, with Ki representing his Senju clan and Yu representing the Uchiha clan's crest. The clan leaders had no objections. After all, among the various clans, Hashirama and Madara had the biggest fists. Madara was deeply moved. Despite their Uchiha clan being defeated in the war, Hashirama had always cared for his clan. The location for Konoha was chosen to be the very mountaintop where Hashirama and Madara had competed to climb. That very night, everyone finalized all the details and decided to begin construction the next day. After the meeting, the daimyo privately approached Hashirama and thanked him, saying, "Clan head Hashirama, thank you for creating a peaceful and prosperous world for the Land of Fire. On behalf of all the people of the Land of Fire, I express my endless gratitude. I only did what I should do. Daimyo-sama, there's no need to be so polite." Hashirama felt guilty towards the daimyo because he had promised Uzumaki Ryu that he would publicly support Uzumaki village when it became independent. Although the establishment of a nation by the Uzumaki clan greatly benefited the people of the Land of Fire, it was not good for the daimyo. If everyone were as benevolent as clan chief Hashirama, what trouble could the ninja world possibly face? The daimyo sighed deeply, then changed the subject. "I heard that clan chief Hashirama's son is 5 years old this year, is that right?" "Yes," Hashirama nodded. "Perfect timing. I have a granddaughter, Hanka, who is 6 years old this year. She and clan chief Hashirama's son are a perfect match, a handsome couple. How about we arrange a marriage between them?" the daimyo suggested. Having learned his lesson from the Uzumaki dragon's betrayal, he wanted to use a marriage alliance to win over Hashirama. Hashirama hesitated. "I need to discuss this with Mito first." He could make decisions about his clan, but when it came to his son's lifelong happiness, he had to inform Mito. "No problem, go back and discuss it with Mito slowly. Just let me know when you've reached a decision," the daimyo said with a smile. That evening, back home, Hashirama told Mito about the daimyo's proposal to arrange a marriage between them. After careful consideration, Mito felt that establishing a connection with the daimyo would be beneficial to both Sajin and the Senju clan. Moreover, the daimyo's granddaughter was the princess of the Land of Fire. Such a noble woman would be more than a match for Sajin. Therefore, he persuaded Hashirama to agree to the daimyo's request. The next day, Hashirama led the ninja from various clans to the mountaintop where he had competed with Madara in climbing as a child. The area was picturesque, with fertile soil, making it an ideal location for a village. Before construction officially began, the Uzumaki elders, brought by Jojuan, drew up a rough plan based on the mountaintop's topography, detailing Konoha's future residential, commercial, and industrial areas. The clan leaders, impressed by the elders' plans, and the Uzumaki clan, experts in village construction, naturally trusted them and began construction according to the plans. It must be said that the ninjas' production efficiency was incredibly fast, far exceeding that of ordinary people. With the daimyo's readily available supplies, the various clans completed the establishment of Konoha in less than a month, with everyone moving in on the same day. They even spread the word that they welcomed all homeless refugees to join them. It was also on the second day after Konoha's completion that a major event occurred in the Land of Fire, causing a nationwide sensation. Uzushio Village declared its independence, changing its name to the Land of Whirlpools, completely severing ties with the Land of Fire. This news not only caused a sensation in the Land of Fire, but even the surrounding four lands of wind, lightning, earth, and water were paying close attention, and the entire ninja world was shocked. The establishment of a nation is no small matter. If it were just a small country, it wouldn't be so bad, but the Land of Whirlpools, in terms of both population size and military strength, was enough to rank it among the great powers. Therefore, all the other nations were eager to investigate the Land of Whirlpool's secrets, sending spies and agents to infiltrate the Land of Whirlpools even more frantically than before. However, without exception, all those spies never returned, even powerful figures at the clan chief level. The day after Uchiha declared its independence, Konoha mobilized its entire population. Hashirama led the clan leaders to Uchiha to offer their congratulations and attend Ashina's coronation ceremony. Hashirama had originally intended to bring only the Senju clan and not disturb the other ninja clans, but Uzumaki Ryu had cultivated excellent relationships with many clans in the past, never making enemies. In return, the clan leaders voluntarily came to congratulate him. Where the waves surge, the whirlpools thrive. Today, I become the daimyo of Uchiha, and I will lead all my people to prosperity and never betray your trust. On the day of his coronation, Uzumaki Ashina, dressed in a gold-embroidered robe, stood atop the village chief's building and solemnly swore an oath to the hundreds of thousands of citizens below. The Uzumaki clan's achievement of this point is truly beyond everyone's expectations, Sarutobi Sasuke remarked from the VIP seats, gazing at the imposing Ashina atop the building. Who can argue with that? When the Whirlpool clan established Whirlpool Village, nobody thought it would amount to much. Who would have thought they'd be able to establish a nation today? Chief Kurima's tone was somewhat sour. Chapter 174 The First Hokage. Back then, the Kurima clan and the Uzumaki clan were both major clans in the Land of Fire, starting from the same point. But now, the Uzumaki clan has developed to the point of establishing a nation, while his clan has gradually declined. How could the Kurima clan chief not feel bitter? The Uzumaki clan's success today is largely due to the Dragon clan chief's contributions. He is truly admirable, Hyuga Tenin praised Uzumaki Dragon. I simply made the right choice, and with the help of the people and the clan chiefs, Uzumaki Dragon said modestly with a smile. In reality, he was incredibly excited at this moment. Establishing the Land of Whirlpools was his lifelong dream, and today could be said to be the happiest day of his life. I heard that the idea of establishing Whirlpool Village was conceived by the Dragon clan chief's eldest son, Uzumaki's Hakusun, not his second son, Uzumaki Ashina, Nara clan chief asked curiously. Yes, Uzumaki Dragon nodded, explaining, Hakusun was weak in the past and worried about being targeted by those with ulterior motives, so he chose to hide his strength. Upon hearing this, everyone's expressions became strange, and they intentionally or unintentionally cast glances towards Hakusun. When Jojuan disappeared half a year ago, they had heard many rumors about him hiding his talents. No wonder he's one of Uzumaki Dragon's sons, each one more cunning than the last. How old was Uzumaki Jojuan when Uzumaki Village was established? He already knew how to hide his talents back then. How deep must his scheming be? I just don't understand why Uzumaki Dragon made his second son the daimyo instead of his eldest. Clearly, his eldest son is more capable. These thoughts arose in everyone's minds. Meanwhile, on the other side of the VIP seats, Mito whispered to her brother, "Do you regret it? If you hadn't hidden your talents so well, you'd be the daimyo now." Jojuan smiled bitterly, "Sister, you know me. I hate trouble the most. I never thought about becoming a daimyo. Ashina will do better than me. I believe in him. You're just too lazy," Mito said angrily. A real man shouldn't be so timid. You should learn from your brother-in-law and the masked hero, and broaden your ambition. Jojuan smiled without answering. Everyone has their own ambitions. There was nothing wrong with him yearning for a life of leisure and comfort. From now on, you won't be able to avoid trouble even if you don't want to, Mito continued. My father told me he wants you to be the next head of the Uzumaki clan. Ashina will be the daimyo, in charge of the affairs of the Land of Whirlpools, and you will be the head of the clan, coordinating all the ninjas in the country. The two of you will govern the country together. Jojuan's smile gradually froze. He had felt something was wrong. Since his father had already crowned Ashina as daimyo, he should have stepped down from the position of head of the clan. So this was what he was waiting for. The independence of the Land of Whirlpools brought joy to him and sorrow to others. The daimyo of the Land of Fire was undoubtedly the most worried. Uzumaki Ryu, you are a thief who stole a country, the daimyo sighed bitterly. His Land of Fire had been almost forcibly split in two. The Land of Whirlpools had not only taken away half of its population, but also seized a third of the coastal territory of the Land of Fire. I absolutely shouldn't have listened to Naruto Uzumaki's lies and helped that old scoundrel build his village. The daimyo cursed incessantly. He could only vent his anger verbally. It was too late to say anything now. It was all in vain. He had originally planned to support Konoha to keep Uzumaki village in check, so that if Uzumaki Ryu made any outrageous moves, he could have Hashirama and the others stop him. But today, the entire Konoha ninja clan had gone to congratulate the Land of Whirlpools on its independence, clearly siding with Uzumaki Ryu. His plan to maintain balance had completely failed. Although you've successfully usurped the country, don't be so smug. I don't believe the wind, earth, lightning, and water kingdoms will remain indifferent to you, especially the Land of Water. The Land of Water is only separated from you by a sea. Your Whirlpool kingdom won't last long. The Fire daimyo was right. The suddenly independent Land of Whirlpools was now under the covetous gaze of the outside world. No country would allow a threat to its power to grow stronger. All the nations originally planned to launch an attack on the Land of Whirlpools, nipping this nascent nation in the bud. However, the attitude shown by the various ninja clans of the Land of Fire made them hesitant to act. It was uncertain whether the masked man was a member of the Uzumaki clan. But if the Land of Whirlpools received Hashirama Senju's support, it would be enough to make it fearless against any external enemy. At least, that was the case while Hashirama was still alive. The founding ceremony of the Land of Whirlpools lasted for 3 days. During these 3 days, Uzumaki Ryu warmly received every ninja clan that congratulated him, and the entire nation celebrated. Looking at the radiant smiles of the people on the streets, Hashirama was deeply moved, realizing that Jojuan's words that day were true. The people of Whirlpool Village had already genuinely accepted the Uzumaki clan. Their lives in Whirlpool Village were far happier than in the Land of Fire, and they had already made it their home. After the founding ceremony, Jojuan and his family moved into the pre-built palace, while the original clan head's residence was left for the other Uzumaki clan members. Ashina formulated policies based on the current situation in the Land of Whirlpools, promulgating laws, appointing capable ministers, and constructing scenic landscapes. These measures gradually transformed the Land of Whirlpools into a more cohesive nation. Meanwhile, the newly established Konoha village entered a period of rapid development, with a large influx of people from the Land of Fire migrating there, causing a rapid population surge. Uzumaki Ryu kept his promise, leaving the first and second elders in Konoha to guide Hashirama through the early stages of village establishment with their experience. This included how to accommodate civilians, which departments to establish, and how to prevent Konoha from making mistakes and accelerate its development. After the village was established, the first task was to elect a village chief whom everyone trusted. It's worth noting that Hashirama felt the title village chief was inappropriate, as there were many other villages within the Land of Fire, and Konoha's leader should have a unique title. After much deliberation, he ultimately decided to use the title Hokage instead of village chief. Hashirama was self-aware, knowing that while he possessed immense strength, he lacked any administrative talent. Even as the head of the Senju clan, he always needed to bear him as assistants, and the position of Hokage in Konoha was even more challenging than that of the Senju clan head. Therefore, when faced with recommendations from various clan leaders, Hashirama repeatedly declined, strongly recommending Madara as Konoha's first Hokage, genuinely believing Madara's abilities surpassed his own. However, the clan leaders distrusted Madara, and no one felt comfortable with him as Hokage. After several days of procrastination, Hashirama, in desperation, proposed an election. Little did Hashirama know that his suggestion inflicted a profound humiliation on Madara, tantamount to public execution. On the day of the election, no one voted for Madara, everyone voted for Hashirama, leaving Madara's face as black as the bottom of a pot for days. Ultimately, Hashirama, with an overwhelming majority of votes, was forced to accept the Hokage's hood. Chapter 175 Second Brother, you can't lift it, can you? Just as Jojuan had predicted, the Warring States period that had plagued the Land of Fire for so many years ended with the establishment of Konoha, ushering in a new era of prosperity and peace, much like the Land of Whirlpools. The 4 other lands of wind, lightning, earth, and water were all incredibly envious. The 4 newly appointed daimyo, who had taken office half a year earlier, deeply understood the benefits of establishing ninja villages and thus began to promote this initiative, striving to unite all the ninja clans within their respective countries and establish ninja villages that integrated all the clans. The ninja villages of the Land of Wind and the Land of Earth were established the fastest, as these 2 countries had already unified, and the daimyo alone could control the entire nation. The ninja village of the Land of Wind was named Tsunagakure, Hidden Sands Village. They adopted the title Hokage from Konoha, honoring the leader of Tsunagakure as the Kazekage, with the first Kazekage being Ritsuto. The ninja village of the Land of Earth was named Iwagakure, Hidden Stone Village. They also adopted the title Kage, honoring the leader of Iwagakure as the Tsuchikage, with the first Tsuchikage being Aishiguro. Because the Land of Lightning and the Land of Water were not unified, their ninja villages were established last. However, fortunately, with the daimyo's tireless efforts, both were eventually successfully built. The ninja village in the Land of Lightning was called Kumagakure, Hidden Cloud Village, and following the trend, they honored its leader as the Raikage, with the first Raikage being the ninja village in the Land of Water was called Kirigakure, Hidden Mist Village, and the first Mizukage was Byakuren. For the next 6 months, the 4 great nations were busy with village construction and had no extra energy to probe the Land of Whirlpool's strength. The Land of Whirlpools had no internal worries and no powerful external enemies, and its national strength steadily increased. Jojuan benefited from this and resumed his leisurely life, spending his days in his office drinking tea and playing chess, delegating all tasks to his subordinates, and leaving get off work on time, living like a retiring old cadre. Until a year later. 1 year later, on this evening, Jojuan left work on time. He had just returned to the palace when a guard came to find him. Lord Jojuan, Lord Long wants to see you in the garden. Alright, I'll change my clothes and go, Jojuan replied. He had been living too comfortably this past year, indulging in a life of luxury, eating delicacies at every meal, even keeping separate clothes for work and home, as if he were trying to make up for all the hardships he had endured in the previous 20 years. Half an hour later, he arrived at the garden. Not only was Uzumaki Long there, but Ashina, Biwa, and the little boy Asako were also present, the 4 of them sitting in the pavilion eating dinner. Jojuan was somewhat surprised. Since the independence of the Land of Whirlpools, his family of 5 had rarely eaten together, as everyone held important positions and was busy with their own affairs, unless there was a major announcement. He felt vague unease. Father, what do you want to see me about? Jojuan sat down opposite Uzumaki Long, asking as he picked up his chopsticks. Whirlpool Dragon said calmly, I've arranged a marriage for you. The bride is a princess from the Snow Kingdom, and she's already in our Whirlpool Kingdom. She's a good match for you. After dinner, we'll go pick her up together. Jojuan was instantly stunned, almost dropping his chopsticks. No betrothal this time, and he's already fast-forwarding to the bridal chamber. This is really something you do, father. Second brother, although the Snow Kingdom is a bit far from us, it's her marrying into our country, so it's fine, Ashina said happily. Besides, I heard that the Snow Kingdom princess is beautiful and intelligent. She'll definitely be a perfect match for you. Yes, second brother, your marriage will also promote diplomatic relations between our 2 countries, Biwa chimed in. Ever since learning about Jojuan's abilities, Biwa understood that the reason Jojuan had failed so many blind dates wasn't because the women didn't like him, but because he didn't like them. His standards for choosing a partner were exceptionally high. Even if you have high standards, this time I've found you a princess to marry, surely you won't have any complaints now, right? Jojuan's eyes twitched slightly, unsure of what to say. His father had really gone too far this time, arranging the marriage without his consent, completely putting him in a bind with no way out. What, you don't want to? Whirlpool Dragon coldly glared at him. Jojuan hesitated for a moment, then finally sighed. Alright, I'll listen to you, father. Hearing this, Whirlpool Dragon's icy expression softened slightly, and he continued, I think the 5 great nations' recent one country, one village system is quite good. After you get married, we'll follow their example. You've honed your skills in the police department for a year, that's enough. Next, I'll hand over the position of Whirlpool Clan Chief to you, and you'll become the Whirlpool Shadow of Whirlpool Village. You've arranged everything, what can I say? Yes, okay, Joshua nodded like a chick pecking at rice, feeling for the first time how uncomfortable it was to have a domineering father. The meal was quickly finished, and Jojuan had eaten nothing but stale food the entire time. Come with me after you finish eating, said the Whirlpool Dragon. Jojuan smiled wryly. Let me change my clothes first, I'm not presentable in this state, you should change. Second brother, dress more formally, after all, it's your first time meeting your sister-in-law. Ashina agreed, even calling her sister-in-law. The Whirlpool Dragon urged, hurry up, don't dawdle, don't worry, I'll be quick, Jojuan said, getting up and running. The Whirlpool Dragon glanced at his departing figure and waited quietly. 10 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. The Whirlpool Dragon grew increasingly impatient, frowning. Another 10 minutes passed, and Jojuan still hadn't returned. Why are you so slow? They're waiting for us, the Whirlpool Dragon said, his tone extremely dissatisfied. Perhaps second brother is more concerned about the Snow Kingdom princess and is getting ready, Ashina said, speaking up for Jojuan. The Whirlpool Dragon's eyes flickered, and suddenly he had a bad feeling. He abruptly stood up and went to Jojuan's residence without a word. Ashina quickly followed behind him, thinking that his father was too impatient, he couldn't even wait a few minutes. The door to Jojuan's residence was tightly shut. Without even a word, Uzumaki Ryu reached out and pushed. It was locked from the inside and wouldn't open. Jojuan, open the door, Uzumaki Ryu patted the door. There was no response. Without further hesitation, Uzumaki Ryu decisively broke down the door. The room was empty, there wasn't a soul in sight. A blank sheet of paper lay on the table. Where's second brother? Ashina scratched the back of his head, puzzled. JPG. Chapter 176 Hiruzen vs. Danzo. That was close. Jojuan fled dozens of miles away from the land of whirlpools in one breath, still feeling lingering fear. Father is too ruthless, I almost got forced into this marriage. He had no doubt that if he had shown any resistance to the marriage in the garden, the Whirlpool Dragon would have definitely used his Vajra chains to beat him up before binding him and sending him to the bridal chamber. Jojuan and the so-called princess of the land of snow were complete strangers, knowing nothing about each other. Given his personality, he would never spend the rest of his life with a stranger, that would only make both of them miserable. If being together wasn't as comfortable as being alone, then the marriage was meaningless. Father must be furious with me and won't dare go back anytime soon. Fortunately, I brought enough money with me. Even outside the land of whirlpools, I can live a comfortable life. I'll just treat this as a short vacation, Jojuan thought to himself. He was carefree and could rightfully consider his escape from the marriage as a way to clear his head. I'm not going to Konoha either. If my sister knew why I ran away, she'd definitely kick me out. Thinking this, Jojuan changed his escape route, deliberately avoiding Konoha. 2 hours later, he arrived in a small country called the Land of Hot Springs. The Land of Hot Springs was more like a slightly larger town than a country, its population and economy vastly different from the Land of Whirlpools. However, this wasn't necessarily a bad thing, precisely because it posed no threat. The neighboring major powers were willing to allow its existence. The Land of Hot Springs primarily developed tourism, and the entire country was famous for its hot springs. That evening, Jojuan checked into a guest house and enjoyed a soak in the hot springs. For the next few days, Jojuan stayed in the Land of Hot Springs, going out to sightsee during the day and soaking in the hot springs at night, living a comfortable and carefree life. But after a few days, he felt bored. Although he was free from his father's supervision in the Land of Hot Springs and could do whatever he wanted, humans are social animals after all. He didn't have a single familiar friend in the Land of Hot Springs, and after the initial novelty wore off, he inevitably felt lonely. Traveling isn't very interesting. I'd better go to Konoha and stay with my sister. I know people there, and I can also see how Konoha is developing. So, after 5 days of wandering, Jojuan finally decided to go to his sister. He arrived in Konoha at noon, and without being stopped at the village entrance, he followed a group of civilians into the village smoothly. At that time, Konoha was like the newly built Uzushio village 5 years ago, impoverished yet vibrant. Walking along the streets, one could see people everywhere renovating buildings, working hard to build their new homes. Not bad, it's much better than a year ago. Jojuan had also been to Konoha a year ago when it was newly built. Back then, Konoha was a complete rural area. A year later, it had barely upgraded from a rural area to a town. After wandering around the streets for a while, Jojuan saw a group of patrolling police officers, all of them Uchiha clan members. After Madara's defeat in the Hokage election, Hashirama, as compensation, entrusted the police department to Madara, placing the Uchiha clan in charge of maintaining village order. Any conflicts or disputes among the various ninja clans or the general populace were also handled by the Uchiha. It's no exaggeration to say that the establishment of the police department brought the Uchiha clan's prestige and power to the pinnacle in Konoha, even surpassing the Senju clan in influence. The tallest tree in the forest catches the most wind. Being too flamboyant isn't always a good thing, Jojuan silently remarked, observing the awe-inspiring gazes of the people towards the Uchiha. Hashirama certainly couldn't have imagined that his decision to entrust the police department to the Uchiha, ostensibly for their benefit, was actually laying the groundwork for the future Uchiha massacre. It was precisely because of this excessive power that the Uchiha clan and the people of Konoha eventually became adversaries, their conflicts accumulating until they reached an irreconcilable point. I wonder if you'll still exterminate the Uchiha clan after Madara stays in Konoha. Things should have changed, Jojuan thought to himself. Then he chuckled to himself, realizing he was worrying too much. Even if the Uchiha clan were to be exterminated, it would be 40 or 50 years from now, and whether he himself would live to see that day was uncertain. He didn't know where Kikuzu was right now, and even if he wanted to find him to study the Earth Grudge Fear technique, he couldn't find him. I'll find my sister first, Jojuan thought, secretly activating his Kagura mind's eye to search for Mito's whereabouts. Soon, he sensed a familiar aura nearby. Sajin? That kid's definitely up to no good. I'll go check him out. Thinking of his mischievous nephew, Jojuan couldn't help but smile. He headed towards Sajin's location, turning 2 streets before arriving at the entrance of the Ninja Academy. Konoha already had a Ninja Academy back then. Jojuan was somewhat surprised. Ninja academies were valuable, beneficial to the country and its people. The land of whirlpools didn't have one. He might as well mention it to Ashina when he returned, and ask him to build one too. He then looked around and saw a group of children gathered in a corner of the playground, making a noisy commotion. Zongzhen's presence was clearly among them. Could it be schoolbullying? Is Zongzhen being ganged up on by other kids? No wonder Jojuan thought this. Zongzhen was incredibly mischievous. Even Mito often got so angry she'd pull down his pants and beat him. It was normal for him to get into fights with kids his own age. Jojuan secretly released a wisp of his reincarnation eye power, and the scene unfolding in the corner of the playground immediately appeared clearly in his eyes. Hirozen, Danzo, are you two still fighting or not? If not, we're going home for dinner. Yeah. They were shouting so loudly this morning, saying things like don't leave after school, but they're both just paper tigers. Paper tigers can't become Hokage. Ha ha ha. Through lip reading, Jojuan deciphered the topic the children were jeering at. 2 boys were surrounded, their faces flushed red. One of them was familiar to Jojuan. It was the young Hirozen he had seen a year ago in the Sarutobi clan's territory. As for the boy opposite Hirozen, Jojuan didn't recognize him, but could roughly guess his identity. A chubby boy next to him winked and said, I think the second Hokage should be given to Sajin. Hashirama-sama is Sajin's father, so it's a good succession. Upon hearing this, the other children nodded in agreement. Sajin panicked and quickly said, Akimichi Torufu, don't talk nonsense and cause me trouble. I don't want to be Hokage. I'm just here to preside over the duel. At the same time, he secretly muttered to himself, my ideal is farming. All the dangerous things like being a ninja and Hokage are yours. Akimichi Torufu, feeling humiliated by the retort, sullenly shrank back and shouted at the 2 children in the middle, Hirozen, Danzo, Sajin isn't going to compete with you for Hokage anymore. There are only 2 candidates left, so hurry up and fight to decide the winner. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, Every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.